Dolphins, of course, took Skylar Thompson before the 49ers took Brock Purdy, I guess because on top of it, Skylar Thompson adds the benefit of being a 37-year-old rookie. So, you not only drafted a guy who wasn't very good in college, but, he's got a very limited future because he's about to start collecting Social Security.
Yeah. A few picks later, the 49ers grab a guy that's leading them to the Super Bowl with a flawless record. And so far has looked as polished as Tom Brady and his, I don't
we'll
mean
get
to
into this with the big board, but there's a lot of just this whole NFC Championship, AFC Championship weekend is just a big kick in the balls to Miami Dolphins fans. There's a lot of that going on in these two games.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Degenerate Friday edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and a somewhat suntan Mike Lubie. Have you been out with a little R&R of late, or just getting fried while sitting in traffic, waiting to get to various editions of Mike Mayo's lunchbox? What do you think? Down at Gulfstream Park today, that's always a hoot. So look forward to that around 12 o'clock. And the Mayo Man himself, who put on quite a display for the people at Wicked Cheesesteaks yesterday. I mean, he really did. When he shoveled those two things in his face,
I just posted.
What was that? Like it was a bacon infused cheesesteak that it was really very, very tasty. I brought a couple of pieces of it home and had some last night. Sprinkle a little hot sauce, and that thing was just absolutely kicking. And but Mike managed to shove like half of it in his face.
Yes.
In one bite, without even dunking it in bread. I mean, water first, the bread and water. Yeah, didn't go chestnut on that. But he's going to join us later on, and then we'll be out at Gulfstream Park later on. The Holy Bull. What's that?
By the way, and I want to talk Holy Bull. You can watch that, by the way. Obviously, you can watch the episode. But I post pretty much every time Mayo eats food now. It's become ridiculous to watch, so I want you to share it in that. It's on our TikTok at SoFly Live and on our Instagram at SoFly Live. Just him eating, because I'm now wondering, is he a human or is he a snake? Because I've never seen a human do the things with their mouth. Even Joey Chestnut doesn't take big bites. Like
no. He shovels. He shoves. Mayo, actually, takes on a personal challenge and says, "You think I can do this in one bite?" I'm like, from what I've seen, I'm not going to bet against you. That's for sure. It's interesting that you would bring that up, though. I mean, I brought it up, but interesting that we'd be talking about this because today, of course, not of course, but. I know this because, it's a very significant day for me. Lubie, 40 years ago today, my son Jesse was born.
Oh, happy birthday, Jess Man.
Happy birthday to the Jess Man. So I have a wedding I have to go to tonight. Excuse me. And I didn't mean to choke on that. It's two good friends of ours from our days at the Barefoot Beach Villas. These guys are made for each other. They're absolutely made for each other. Southern Brian and the lovely Tara getting married.
Brian's getting married. What?
Yeah. Well, he's been with the girl 20 years. I mean, it's about time he sprung. He came into some money, a couple of, a substantial amount. Let's say, what would that be? 7 figures. So he's got cash. He's got everything. Been with the girl forever. I mean, if he didn't marry her now, she would be more than entitled and be more than appropriate for her, not just to walk, but to kick him in the balls on the way out.
Exactly.
Yeah. This woman does everything with this guy, man. I mean, they are like made for each other. I couldn't be happier for him. So they're getting married tonight. So I figured I probably wasn't going to be able to slip over to between Gulfstream and that, see my son or go out. I don't know what his plans are for the birthday. He was going to kind of keep it low key. But so I was in the area yesterday. I was actually heading up to Boca to take care of a little piece of business there. Try and stem the flow of rent ink right now that's happening at the Defo checking account. And so this gentleman was taking good care of me, and I was able to get the stuff done, or it looks like that's going to happen fairly quickly. So all's going to be well in the universe, and I won't have to stiff anybody, let's put it that way, especially the IRS and, the property tax people that want their money like right now. And so I jogged up to Jesse's house yesterday to drop off a gift and a card and express my sentiments, maybe sit for a while, shoot the breeze about. I mean, it really is remarkable, Lubie, when you think about it. The quirks of fate that are involved in your very existence. I don't know how your parents met. Were they in shul together? What was going on?
League. They were both bowling league. Back from college, and they had some common friends, and it's funny. This one group, like 6 or 7 couples, all met in this bowling league, and are still married today. Like had kids, grandkids, and are still best friends. Like 40, I guess 40 plus years later, because they met right before they all got married. They all got married within a year span. They all had kids within the 2-year span.
Well, I guess I must have been 30 at the time, and I had just moved to South Florida. I've told this story a few times about how I met Jesse's mother, but it's still, I mean, it's freaky to think. I mean, how fragile it is, because I'm looking at my 2 absolutely gorgeous grandchildren. Now, everybody says their grandchildren are, the best, but these 2 kids are really like sensationally, good looking, and they're great kids. They really are. They get along well. One's 7, one's 4. We got Liam, the first one, and Christian, little guy, is 4 years old, and he's a pistol. So, and we may have to tone down some of the salty language that we use on the program. Not that I kind of enjoy it that you don't have to edit. I mean, when the temptation to say, "Hey, this bleeping stinks," comes up, that you don't have to edit it out of your head. Which we've had to always be careful of that when we were doing over-the-air radio, because one time you let one slip, and okay, they might let that one go, but if you made it consistent. And we're constantly having to try to dump yourself. Which what is the one function on the board that never works properly at any radio station?
Well, the problem is
the dump button. Yeah,
the dump button's never near you.
right. Yeah, you got to reach around
like
2 other people to get to it. And maybe arbitrarily just said, I don't give a shit about that, and then boom, wow, all hell breaks loose. Right.
The curses are not expected. It's not like, yes, if you have Rodney Danger, if you have like a comedian on, maybe, but when we have a caller on and I'm over here and the dump button's over there,
it never works. It never gets rid of the thing.
What?
I mean, it used to be that anybody that was on hold on the phone, they're actually hearing the live feed, but everything else was on a 7-second delay. So you could edit this stuff out, But we were used to kind of doing that. After a while, you kind of have it in your head that listen, I can't say that. You stop yourself and come up with another word or whatever. But everybody knows. I think it's just it's more honest when you just say, "Hey, I don't give a fuck about that." Okay. Now, I do find this, that just the fact that you have the freedom to do that. I don't know that you want to also turn into Joe Pesci on the air.
No.
Whatever. I mean, because after a while, I mean, that might be insulting to some people. But now I really have to cool it because of what happened yesterday, where Jesse relays a story to me. I didn't realize that you could just pop this on the radio.
Yes.
All of this stuff. I know you told me that, but I didn't know how it worked, because you know me.
If you subscribe, it pops up on your. That's why I'm not trying to be annoying with people. Like, it just makes it easier. People keep asking.
Yeah, how do you get it on the radio? Yeah,
it's easy. Like, and every car my car is 6 years old and it does Bluetooth. So unless your car, and some people have cars from the 90s, so good for you. Unless your car's from like the 2000s, you can do Bluetooth.
If you're driving an Edsel, you're in trouble on this. But otherwise, you can Bluetooth
it. Almost every car does it now. It's very easy, and then it's like listening to the radio.
All right, so here's what happens. Jesse says yesterday he's driving Christian to school, the 4-year-old, and he's listening to a podcast. Jesse was an early advocate of all kinds of podcasts, and was always telling me, listen to this one, listen to that one, and I'm truthfully, for being in this business, I'm not inclined to listen to podcasts.
The same way.
I'm just not. I don't know. I mean, I like live stuff or whatever, and I don't know that I'm going into the archives to listen to who's the guy that does the MMA that was on Fear Factor?
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan, yeah.
He's like the guy, even though he's a friggin' lunatic now.
I mean, Jess Man was an early fan of Joe Rogan's podcast and said it was like really good, and it didn't matter. He would talk to some guy for like an hour, and it was good, rambling conversation with a lot of different types of people. And obviously, Rogan had phenomenal success as he sold that thing for like $100 million.
More
his archives, maybe more, of podcasts. And essentially a guy who was telling people to jump off a bridge into a vat of squid. Now, all of a sudden, what was this giant media mogul? And so, it's a great thing to be in because you can hit the jackpot. It's not like you're going to be floundering at the bottom forever. You never know what's going to make it for you. But so Jess Man's listened to a podcast on his way driving young Christian to school. And what does Christian say at 4 years old? Dad, could we listen to Grandpa Defo?
Oh, yeah. So that's nice.
He wanted to hear the podcast, yeah.
That's
You
cool.
want to? I mean, the live version of the show. So that they may be listening right now, and now I'm thinking, wow, I'm cursing like a sailor in front of my 4-year-old grandson. What could this kid possibly think of me? As I'm whining about losing bets and cursing, like I was going to the chair, right?
I love that you're
Unbelievable.
Grandpa Defo. I
But
do love that your name is Grandpa Defo.
Grandpa Defo, yeah, that's what I am.
That's great.
Well, they kind of have 3 grandfathers because there's a stepfather involved, and so I mean, that's how they distinguish me, Grandpa Defo, and then there's Grandma Mustang. Although by family blood, she's not necessarily the grandmother, but she's kind of a grandmother-in-law, I guess you would
Be
say.
grandma, it's fine. They're kids.
Yeah.
They can have all the love in the world. That's great.
Great kids, man. So it's great seeing them. I can't believe it. And a real quirky story. I mean, just to make it, capsulize it a little bit. I just moved here. I was like 30 years old, and I was originally living in this $60 a week hotel, which was a complete shithole. Sorry, Liam and Chris.
You already did it.
It was a White Hart Hotel on South Beach, but it wasn't South Beach yet because they had just dumped all of the Mariel refugees there. And I mean, it was really kind of like the wild west of Havana. I mean, it was crazy what was going on. I remember a friend of mine said, "Hey, you want to go get some weed somewhere?" And I'm thinking, "Okay, sure." So he was going to buy like a $5 bag of weed. Okay, and I was only in town like a couple of days. I met this guy and we became friends. And what happens? I see him go to the drawer and he puts a gun in his pants. I'm like, "You're going to buy $5 worth of weed and you're bringing a pistol out? I'm out." I'm sorry, man. This was my beginnings in Miami, and this was people thought I was crazy because it was right after which riots were they that happened in like 1980, 81. Was it the Overtown riots? I believe it was, right?
Yeah.
But they were throwing bricks, down on cars on the highway, and everybody was up in arms, and there was a lot of bloodshed. It was ugly, and people thought I was crazy to move here. So that was among my first experiences. This guy packing heat to go buy $5 worth of weed. And I thought that this is really going to be a strange, journey here, and see if I can't get on some better turf. So after living in this place, which was infested with roaches, I mean, not just roaches, but roaches that were defiant. They were like the Putin of roaches, where it's like, you know what, you mess with me, you send them one tank, man, I'm going to throw like a nuclear bomb up in here and just see if it happens to land in New York. Thanks, Vlad. What an asshole.
These roaches look you in the face. Screw you.
Oh, no, they crawl on your face and they just sit there. You're like this, trying to hit them.
South Florida roaches are great.
Papillon was living under better conditions, and I'm thinking I'm paying for this, right? So I was friendly with another guy that was living in a hotel. This was a different guy. And, we were saying, hey, between the two of us, we're spending like $120 a week to live in this dump. And for like $500 a month, we can go live in a 2-bedroom apartment in Coconut Grove. So why don't we just move out together and we'll pool our money and get something. So we end up getting this place. It was very nice in Coconut Grove. It was like $400 a month or something at the time, 1981. And we were perfectly happy, except we had no furniture.
You lived very weird.
Well, I mean, I just moved. I was here like a week, and we're moving to Coconut Grove. And we moved into this 2-bedroom place. And we were actually, these places, if you could call it that, were considered furnished because they had a bed and a chair. That was it. It was like a real stark 1-room arrangement there in the White Hart. And so we moved to Coconut Grove, and then a girlfriend of mine was going on a cruise that I had, a girl that I knew in California. And oddly, she was going on a cruise out of Miami, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to come and see you." I said, "That's great."
Yeah, why
And I
not?
thought, but I really don't want to be in this, place where we have no furniture. We're literally sleeping on the floor, which I didn't mind, but I didn't think that would be particularly appealing to her. So I arranged, to get a hotel in Key West. I figured, okay, let's go down there. It's romantic and everything. And so sure enough, while we're in Key West, after having a little session, we decided to go get something to eat. And I remember I was looking, and on the side of the, I guess on the little bureau there was a sign that said, "Come eat at Bob's Shrimp Boat." Bob's Shrimp Boat in Key West at the time. And this is 40 years ago. I doubt that Bob's still around, or the Shrimp Boat for that matter. And so I said, "Hey, why don't we go to Bob's Shrimp Boat?" It was one of those things right out of The Usual Suspects where you just pick the stuff right off the wall, and started making up a story. And sure enough, I run into a guy there who calls my name out. I would have never recognized this guy. And he was a neighbor of mine when I lived on Long Island as a teenager. and he lived across the street from me. And he says, I hadn't seen this guy. What, I was 30 at the time, so I hadn't seen this guy in at least 12 years. And he said, DeForest? And I was like, hey, there weren't that many people in the restaurant either. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Who the hell are you? But I noticed he was with like two stone babes. I mean, two women that I thought were absolutely, hot. And I'm thinking, okay, so, the girl I'm with is going to be going back to California after she leaves on her cruise. I'll probably never see her again, which I didn't.
Yeah.
This guy's got two babes and he lives in Miami, and I know the guy, and I really don't, have too many people that I'm familiar with at that point, outside of the guy that I moved into the room in Coconut Grove, and the guy that fortunately I kind of distanced myself from, who was packing heat to do a $5 marijuana deal. All true. I'm not embellishing any of this. This is absolutely
I've been through a lot
pure
of stuff.
fact. Okay.
Never needed a gun.
So
for-
anyway, this guy's name was Lenny, and he was a chiropractor in Miami, and so I figured whichever girl he's with, I'm going to try and make a move on the other one and see if I can't make her acquaintance, and then at least I'll get started like with some kind of reasonable
Okay.
quest to find romance here while I'm down in Miami. Trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with my life, and sure enough, I ended up. That's how I met Jesse's mother.
Oh, that's funny. That
yeah.
was his mom.
'Cause, he put his arm around a girl that I was less interested in, and this woman who to me was like, I mean, I characterized her as a hot blonde at the time, was available, and she liked me, and we ended up connecting, and that's the rest is history. Like a
That's
year later, the Jess Man was born. Unbelievable, 2383. Yeah. So I mean, but think about that. What are the odds of that? The odds are like 0.0, much like my mother and father meeting, or I don't know, maybe yours. And but for that, you wouldn't exist, right?
100%. Yeah, it's friggin'
I mean,
weird.
just an amazing conundrum of circumstance and coincidence leads to what turned out to be not only my son's life, but the life of the grandchildren, and the continuation of the DeForest name, which otherwise might have become extinct. But anyway, happy birthday, Jess. I couldn't be any more proud of the kid. He's a fantastic young man. Really, I don't know how he does it. I don't know where he got it from. I mean, his mother must have characteristics that I didn't really see when, I was with her, and, not necessarily treating her in the best of fashion over the entire 8 years of our marriage. It was kind of stuck on myself, but nonetheless, here he is, and happy birthday, Just Man. CPA today, got a promotion. He's now like mid-level management at some big firm out of California.
Wow, good for him.
Works at home, and this was great yesterday because I called him about I don't know, it was in the area about maybe 3:30, and I said, "Hey, Jess, you mind if I stop by? I want to drop something off for you for your birthday." And he said, I'm in a video meeting right now with some clients. All right. Because, he does a lot of tax work for different people, and many of them are on the West Coast, like actors, movie stars, athletes, stuff like that. And sure enough, he was doing the taxes of a guy that's a DJ out in Los Angeles, a pretty popular guy. His name escapes me now, but, it probably wouldn't be relevant to bring his name up under the circumstances because this is personal information. But he's in the whole $700,000 to the IRS. And he had stopped paying the firm also. So I said, well, so you must be about the sixth guy that whoever was working on this particular client's taxes, has now been assigned this case. He said, yep, that's right. Just keep passing him down. Because nobody really wants to deal with the guy because he's a deadbeat. Let's face it. How do you get that deep in the hole? Huh? 700,000? I guess if you're making a lot of money and you decide not to pay and you're partying a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. The way they get paid is by gig to gig. So they don't think of it like that. Like, I'm neurotic. I don't want to get screwed, but they don't care. They just don't think of it. They're like, all right, yeah, I'm fine. No,
these are the wrong people to owe money to. But I had to go sit in the backyard because the doors were locked to the house. So I'm in the backyard, and he was in this meeting from I was there like 3:45 until like 4:30, and it literally was like Luca Brasi trying to get in to see The Godfather on his daughter's wedding day. Where he was tying up with clients and then this and then that. And I'm thinking, wow, this is my son. The little kid was running around in the backyard 40 years ago, and I just hoping he didn't pee in his pants. So fantastic. I mean, Jess, man, congratulations. And, interesting to know that my 4-year-old grandson is requesting our show on the radio on his way to school. Probably listening right now.
Good morning, Christian.
Good morning. All right, many things happening. Heat Knicks used to be a big deal, Lubie. It used to be a giant deal. It probably should have been a big deal last night, but it really wasn't. And yet the Heat lose. It's interesting. I love fans. I saw some stuff on social media where the Heat lose to the Knicks by 2 points at Madison Square Garden on the road. It really was, there was nothing there where you could say, oh, well, geez, they didn't have Jimmy Butler or this or that. They had all their players pretty much. Bam Adebayo had a phenomenal game after being named to the All-Star team as a reserve. And he was the only Heat player named to the All-Star team. Some people thought maybe Jimmy Butler would get a piece of it. But there were a lot of guys that were left off the NBA All-Star team that you could easily make a case and say, wait a minute, what about this guy? In fact, I always read the snubs right away. Who got snubbed? Who got hosed? What do you think of this list? De'Aaron Fox, should he have been on the
he's not in the God.
Not on the All-Star team.
Oh,
Trey Young, who was shooting the ball poorly early in the season, but has come on now, averaging 21 points and almost 10 assists a game. The Hawks haven't been a great team this year. I think they have a slight upside record, just above 500. He also was considered to be a guy that got snubbed. Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors, great player. I mean, excellent, leading the Raptors for a while now. After they lost Kawhi Leonard in that championship year, he kind of took over and has been a real big factor. Aaron Gordon, I don't know. That was a bit of a stretch. Aaron Gordon.
Now, people think he really should have made it. I don't know. The West has a lot of forwards.
Jalen Brunson over Julius Randle. That probably would have been the move, right? Brunson having a better season. He's kind of the MVP of the Knicks, although Randle was good last night at the beginning of the game and at the end of the game. And in between, he was Julius Randle. James Harden. You can make a case for James Harden over what? Drew Holiday? Yeah.
He actually has good stats. I didn't realize the season he was having. His stats really good.
Yeah, and the team's having a good year. I mean, they're sitting there, number 3 in the East, Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid did get the justice that he so richly deserved by being named a reserve, although it's kind of insulting that he was not a starter.
Yes,
anyway, Heat Knicks, the Heat lose it by 2 points to the Knicks. And this guy posts up, I will never watch another Heat game again. Because he was so upset that they lost to the New York Knicks. The Knicks aren't terrible. They're now, after that win, they're 1 game behind the Heat for the season.
No, the Knicks are a playoff caliber team. The Knicks are right there with the Heat. They're a little worse than the Heat, but they're a solid team. It's not a horrible loss. It's just an annoying loss.
All right, it looks like the Dolphins are going to get that Vic Fangio deal done. That's back on. That's good. Nothing overwhelmingly exciting during the first week leading up to the Super Bowl. Most of the talk has been about the Brady retirement. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to end up if he ends up anywhere? There was that one arrest of the offensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. We have yet to determine how significant that is. Was he a starter? I mean, we don't know. What was the guy's name?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the one you talked about yesterday. No, he's not a starter.
He got popped, yeah. Seemed to be insignificant because there was no big horror attached with it.
Well, the big news yesterday was Joe Mixon. Did you hear that Joe Mixon?
Joe Mixon, also was charged with some kind of what is aggravated menacing? That's what you do on the show.
He threatened. I don't know if a woman in his
threatened some woman with a gun or pointed a gun at somebody.
And that's you can't do that. And he,
I would think that would be negative. No.
And he's I forgot. He at Oklahoma, he had a bad track record. So, if true, he may be done. Like this is the kind of thing that could be really bad for him. Yeah, like he's had a bad past. So I'm curious what it means for him in football. I don't know about life, but football.
I just want to give you something here, real quick, from Phil Mushnick, who's talking about these color analysts. And there's a big thing. Did you see this where the CBS executives actually, and I don't know if this just surfaced, but they actually, had like a divine intervention with Tony Romo last year.
Oh, yes.
They thought that, Romo's performance has really slipped into the point of being incomprehensible. And then it got worse this year. And they think that Nance and Tony Romo are absolutely out of synchronization as an announcing team. Yeah, Mushnick hammers Greg Olson, who he just says he never shuts up, which is probably true. I mean, the guy never stops.
Yes, that's his problem. Because I think I don't agree with you. I actually like him, and the professor and I were talking about it, but he does talk a lot. Like he will have.
He has a potential to be good. I don't rule that out. But if you start out like this and nobody puts any other ideas in your head about a way to approach it, then obviously you're just going to continue doing what you're doing, thinking you're doing great, and everybody's telling you how good you are. Simply put, Fox's Greg Olson doesn't shut up. He's insufferable. Why is he allowed to persist? Are there execs at Fox who believe that we enjoy this guy?
Yes, he's
Do they
wrong.
not realize that he places Fox's inability to know bad from much worse a weekly point of emphasis?
Yeah, you guys
See,
are in a different age bracket. Everyone loves Olsen. You guys are like wrong.
to
And
hear the self-evident obvious spoken twice during the NFC Championship game, running for a first down next became, he got a first down with his legs. Well, of course he did. Yeah, he ran the football. That's not insight. Yet Olsen's bosses concluded, gee, he's good. Can't wait to hear him during the Super Bowl. That was Mushnick. Mushnick, really hammers this guy, though. So maybe that's a little bit over the top.
he's in
I don't know.
I
Somewhere
know.
in between what he's doing and, silence would be great. No?
I just love they sat down with Romo. They're like, look, man, like we got to reel it in, and he doubled down. Like he was worse this year. Like he talked more now than ever. I didn't have a problem with Romo like a lot of people until this year. This year I was like, what the fuck's wrong with him? Like Romo, shh. I'm like, just shut the fuck up.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like every play doesn't need this kind of, analytical embellishment. It just doesn't. Every play is not interesting in the NFL. I mean, there are plays that are just like you look and you go, I can't believe they ran that play. So I would rather have a color analyst that says, what kind of stupid ass call was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Then goes, well, you see that? I mean, they had the A gap there and the B gap, and then the C gap fell apart. And you know what? They tried to get this guy to go in there, and here's the telestrator. And I'm like, wait a minute. It was a 1 yard run, a 1 yard plunge. It was a terrible call. Obviously, the defense, was just sitting there waiting for this thing to happen. There was no imagination whatsoever to the play. They ran it right up the middle, right into, what was a wall of tacklers awaiting the running back. The blocking was horrendous, and the call was certainly no surprise to anybody, as everybody in the stadium knew this asshole was going to run the ball. Right? Doesn't and the color analysts will portray it as a stroke of genius. Oh my God, can you believe this? They're so far ahead of everybody else when it comes to play calling. I'm like, what are you talking about? That was one of the ugliest, dumbest calls I've ever seen in a football game, and very typical of a game where coach is stuck for a play. I mean, there was no innovation there, nothing. But they try to make it sound like it was, the most scientific thing that you've ever seen. All right, the Greek going to join us. All right, very good. We're going to come right back with the Greek. Hialeah Park, great place to go. Boxing coming up February 24th. Guillermo Rigondeaux, the farmer. He might be like a 2-3-time champion. This guy. He was at bantamweight, super bantamweight. He won all kinds of titles. Yeah, he's going to be the featured fighter in the main event. That's going to be on the 24th of February. Get your tickets online at hialeahpark.com. It's always great. I'm telling you, if you haven't been to a live boxing match, this would be the way to inaugurate yourself into just how exciting and how different it is from anything you've ever seen on TV. You could have watched, been locked in a room and watched Hagler Hearns like since birth. And think that this is the most sensational thing that you've ever seen, and nothing will ever top it. And then you get out there and just even see the prelims at one of these Hialeah cards at the live event, and wow, I mean, you're going to see the difference as to what the overall impact is, and what the sport really is capable of generating in terms of excitement. It's just absolutely fantastic. So get your tickets. I mean, they really make it a pleasant experience all the way around. Plenty of parking. You don't have to worry about that. Whether you're, some big shot, park it up front. You want the valet, or, they have the well-lit parking lots there. I mean, it's going to be a great experience. Bars all over the place. I mean, they put some sort of temporary bars right out there by the event site. And, so everybody has no problem grabbing a beer or a cocktail. And there's nothing more pleasant. I mean, it's just absolutely a great experience. And then you can either before or after, or even during, if you don't care for a fight, boom, right in the casino, try to win a few $100, come right back out there. And drinks for everybody. I just hit for 300. It's absolutely amazing. So you're going to love it. Great food and drink all over the place. I like to leave with a media noche, a little Cuban sandwich right out the door.
That last time, Ken and I ate that as we were leaving. It was great.
And I head for the parking lot by the clubhouse there, where I like to exit from, and just a fantastic time all the way around. So get your tickets. It's February 24th. See Rigondeaux and the boys, and Louis the Cubist and Leon Margulies have some outstanding young Cuban prospects that are going to be featured on the card. So you're going to see some real professional stuff going on at Hialeah Park, February 24th, when El Boxeo takes over. And that's going to be the featured entertainment event of the month there at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, coming back with the Greek, and then the professor with the big board. Mark Lawrence, a scratch this week. He's going to join us next week with his Super Bowl predictions, and then probably lay low for a while until we get to March Madness. So Mark Lawrence will be appearing with us next week, and Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet will also join us later on in the show. And then later on, the crew schleps out to Gulfstream, as they say. That's hardly a schlep, though. The schlep itself, I guess, 95 down to Hallandale Beach Boulevard. I get off at Pembroke Road. Do you get off at Pembroke, Louis, or Hallandale Beach?
Hallandale Beach. Even though Pembroke's way better, I forget about that every week, and I do Hallandale Beach.
Yeah, no, it's always great, getting down to Gulfstream Park, and it should be a beautiful day today. If it's anything like yesterday, just absolutely phenomenal. Holy Bull is the featured race over the weekend.
Yeah.
The first of a 3-race series that comprises their 3-year-old campaign to be a stepping stone, a springboard to the Spring Classics. All right, because it's the Holy Bull, and that's a 7-furlong test. Then you go a mile and a 16th in the Fountain of Youth, and then finally a mile and an 1/8 in the Florida Derby. And the Florida Derby horse is usually going to be at least given some consideration as a favorite for.
And they're doing and the professor is already made.
Oh, the beer and bourbon thing, yeah.
Doing one of our.
Bourbon and beef, or whatever that is. Yeah.
Bourbon and barbecue event, which we've gone to, I think, 2 or 3 times. It's friggin' blast. Like the food's really good, the alcohol's there, and it's just a lot of fun.
I remember when Eric was running in there and getting all kinds of sliders for us, and we were just sitting at the bar punching away on horses. I do remember that, though, and it's an unfortunate byproduct of being relatively new at the racing game. I think we had given Eric a horse, or he had picked one, and he went to the window and he bet the wrong track. Oh, no. And so he was screaming and yelling, for the 8. And then he looked at his ticket, and he had like a ticket for a horse at the fairgrounds. It was up the track. So that was a harsh lesson to learn, right? Always make sure you got the right track. At Gulfstream Park, race 2, right? And you want to call that out, or else do it, the rest of us degenerates do. Punch your own tickets. That way you only have yourself to blame. And that's it. Don't leave your voucher in the machine, though, right? So, sometimes you punch, you get distracted, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wait a minute, I had a voucher for $200. You see some guy running like a Larry the Leaper type, running to the tiki bar, hiding behind several people. All right, so we're coming back with the Greek in a moment here on the Defo Show. Degenerate Friday, just getting underway. Happy birthday, son. I couldn't be any more proud of this kid, Louis. You know he's a great young man. And yeah. I mean, you guys would be fast buddies if you had time to be. But, really, really a good kid. I couldn't be any more proud of him.
Kids. He is an accountant. That's a very different
well, I mean, that kind of happened by, he just was looking at himself and saying, hey, what am I going to do, man? I got to do something here. And I guess he had just enough of a background in accounting. He was working in accounting departments, but, he figured, hey, I'm never going to make it unless I get this CPA thing, which supposedly that test is impossible, right? They put robots, on that test and they fail, with artificial intelligence. So, he did it on his own, man. I got to give it to him, and he's worked his way up and maneuvered his way into a good position. So, it's very comforting to know that if you need to borrow money, you could borrow it off your son. I'm close to asking yesterday, Louie. Trust me. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that
the time.
It's a little reverse mortgage, right? Where instead of dad saying, "Hey, you need any money, kid?" You're like, "Hey, son, you got 10 dimes I can borrow till Tuesday." So 7:35.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
How many gamblers did I bail out last weekend with my game of the year? $100 better made $10,000. A $500 better made $50,000. Well, I got 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games. Absolutely.
I believe.
We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Degenerate Friday, about to kick it off here with a good friend of the program here. I was introduced to this gentleman on a quirk of fate there through a mutual friend, Mr. Michael Q. Nyman there, who was a longtime marketing director at Gulfstream Park and was a big fan, embraced AM radio, which is something I really always will dig about, Mike, especially since it was to the mutual benefit of both the Greek, who joins us right now, and us, as we had a nice long run out there at Gulfstream Park doing shows, and the Greek was out there every Saturday. And Mike kept telling me, hey, you're going to love this guy, the Greek, man. And I was thinking, some schmank from Palm Beach Radio. Do I really want to meet this guy, Mr. Big over here? And then I met the guy, and I was like, why didn't you introduce me? I didn't know you knew Jesus himself.
Exactly.
Holy shit, this guy is the goods, So it's a pleasure to introduce on the program. I'm glad he's, willing to capitulate to Lubie's constant nagging and do this every Friday. The Greek joins us here on the show. Greek, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing excellent. Always great to talk to you two guys. So many good times working with you and Lubie in the morning. I miss them at 9:40. You guys were aces from the first day I met you. I mean, you really were. I've always spoke about that, Dave. You know that.
Yeah.
You guys are best. Had a lot of fun. And we just mixed. That's the way it is. Just like life.
What that says.
Well, I mean, because you had gone down a different but a sort of degenerate path, but with probably more success than most people in terms of ultimate bottom line results, whereas, almost everybody that we know is a complete bust out and a loser. And you were cashing some big tickets along the way and getting some royal treatment. But could Lubie's attempts to get you on the show every Friday be characterized as aggravated menacing, as was the case with Joe Mixon? I mean, he stops just short of pointing a gun at your head.
No. I enjoy it. I look forward to it. And, I like I said, it brings back great memories. I really enjoyed my time at 9:40. I missed it. I like the afternoons. I like working with you guys in the morning. It was a lot of fun. I think we were ahead of our time. And you were always, and so was I, about sports betting, where now the whole world is.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Constantly at prop bets and this and that.
Yeah.
And, 10 years ago, we used to do it. And people come in and go, why are you talking about that? Nobody cares. And it's like, no,
Oh, my
they
God.
do care. And you don't have, but hey, it's management. And they never had the pulse of what's going on anyway. So, I mean, they couldn't hit water if they fell off a boat.
Is it a criteria to be in, especially media management, to really literally have no feel whatsoever for what you're doing?
What people care about.
Like no idea what you're doing. I mean, if you look at what's happened in the business, and it's consolidated even more so now where, at one point, obviously there was Go ahead.
Yeah, our good buddy Brian, he was a great guy. He got it. Yeah, Brian was a great guy. Much respect for him.
Yes, he was good.
But it's rare.
The woman we worked for years was really cool with me and got it. But at the time I got to 9:40, again, it was maybe 7 years ago, it was starting to become more, on the surface. But, again, obviously you go back farther than me, it was so taboo, the All-Star games in Vegas this weekend, the team's there. It's everywhere. Every single person now on a stupid app or a podcast is talking about gambling. Every show, they're talking about the over-under. I never thought I should put on my TV and I hear people talking about prop bet.
Yes. That seems to be the rage, though. Is that a young person's thing where they're all making prop bets? Because I look at them with curiosity, but I never was overly infatuated with it. It's hard enough to pick a side with the point spread.
Well, it is really the same thing when you look at it. And what you're doing with a prop bet, honestly, is you're betting odds. So if you're smart and you can get a good number, like when I told you guys about that trend with Brady, 8 weeks in a row went over, that was a big trend. Mahomes last week, completions, I think, was 25, and that was a hot play out of Vegas, and it went to 29. There are guys that just, pick and choose, and they'll look for something, they'll hammer it. And they'll get good odds, and they'll go with it. And, for me, last night Vegas had their props party. They have it every year at the Westgate. It comes out 66 pages of prop bets.
Oh, jeez.
On the Super Bowl.
6 pages. Yeah, for the Super Bowl.
Wow.
What ended up happening was that the younger generation, and you're 100% right, Dave, loves the prop bets. They love that quick action. And that's why like DraftKings and FanDuels and stuff like that are doing very well, because they don't have the patience sometimes to even watch the game. They'll just shoot in and out and look on their phone. Like, oh, I need this guy for 52 yards. I just looked it up. He's got 48 or something like that. So, you know, I think it's good. You can't – I think a big thing a lot of people do as a mistake, and we've talked about this with March Madness, like there's guys who will bet two teams in the same bracket and not realize it. There'll be people who bet, like say you like the Chiefs and you against the Eagles, and you bet all Eagle props. Well, in a way, you're betting against yourself. You know,
which is typical of
like,
any degenerate, yeah.
That's right, yeah. And like I hear people, gamblers all the time, is I want to, you know, break even. If you want to break even, don't bet.
Why are you gambling?
You know what I mean? I mean, that's like it's like you're using a condom. Why would I do that? So I just look at it like, you know, whatever. You like this one? I meet this girl last week, and we're maybe going out. Right? This is Thursday. So she said, "Gee, I just don't know. You think there's a spark between us?" So I wait a second. I look at her. I go, "Have you ever been paid for sex?" She goes, "No." I said, "Well, that could be the spark."
Oh my God.
You know, I mean, at least a straightforward approach there, Greek, which is what we always loved about you. You didn't hold anything back. It was always fantastic.
We went out Friday night.
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
And I thought it went well. I thought it went very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We're going to try to circle back, but no, I had a good time with her, and you'll love this one. Now you got to imagine how hot this girl was. I actually had a couple of glasses of champagne.
Oh wow!
No.
Yeah.
Did you throw down a couple of dimes on a basketball game that night? Also, I mean, break out of everything all at once. This one woman got you out of the whole funk.
I told my buddy that I just hit a curve with my door. I can't believe what she looked like.
What's your feeling, by the way, Greek? I know this isn't your style of people that drive golf carts on the street like that former Panther coach. Brunette is actually his name. I thought it was Burnett, but and I kept mispronouncing it yesterday. Did you see that story? He's in Delray Beach. I guess he's on Atlantic Avenue somewhere, getting hammered with the boys from the NHL who are down for the All-Star weekend. And Andrew Brunette and cop sees his golf cart is illegally parked, and he actually, I guess, comes out of the restaurant, to protest the fact that he's getting a ticket. Maybe he saw the cop writing it up. I don't know the exact details on the story. But
for that.
What's that?
Well,
you can get a DUI on a golf cart.
And
that's what happened. The cop waited around because he noticed the guy was impaired, Brunette, and he figured, well, if this guy gets behind the wheel of this thing and starts driving it, it could cause some problems. And then he blows through a couple of stop signs there on Atlantic, and that can be dangerous enough because it's one of those streets like Los Angeles used to be, I guess, at night, or South Beach if you're down there on Ocean Drive. Where the traffic is massive. Guys are making U-turns. They don't know where the hell they're going. And so he blew a couple of stop signs, and then I guess, I don't know that he took a breathalyzer. I don't think he did. But then, blew everything by getting arrested for a DUI in a golf cart.
Yeah.
But are you a fan of these people that are driving them? I mean, would you ever do that? You would never do this, would you? I mean, come on, Greek.
But actually, we're doing our Super Bowl show next week at Supreme Golf Clubs in Delray. My buddy owns it.
Yeah.
But they're so popular, people, especially in the communities, like in the Boca area, everybody, and they're expensive. But people don't realize that you can get a DUI on a lawnmower.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
You can.
These things should be banned. I think if DeSantis was going to ban anything, never mind, messing with education, just ban golf carts on A1A. That's all I'm asking. Come on, Ron.
I think they're very dangerous. And then, once you'll see kids late at night on them, 2, 3 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
They should. But again, it's one of those gray areas. They don't let people drive them, but they should drive in the community, not on the street.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
One day, the golf course or whatever, it started with COVID, another thing that came out, people start buying them and whatever, but I'm not a fan. And they're dangerous. Like
Yes.
even if you're driving like locally, like 20, 30 miles an hour, you hit one, you're done.
Yep.
And a lot of them, there's no seatbelt.
No.
No. And kids are hanging off the side, and there's like 20 people on a golf cart that's designed to hold 2 people. I had enough trouble driving them and avoiding lakes and things of that nature when I was on a golf course, which was wide open. So,
I got a good trend for you today. You ready for a Super Bowl trend?
Yes.
All right. 13 of the last 15 winners of the Super Bowl have worn white.
Yeah, that's what
Phillies
I
wearing their home. Yeah, Phillies wearing their green. Chiefs are wearing white. I got the Chiefs in Vegas 6-1 in November. I'm all over the Chiefs.
You got the Chiefs at 6-1.
Wow, very good. Yeah, I mean, it does loom. I'm as much as I think about the game. I mean, you can make a case for either side, and not sound like a lunatic. So I'm going to root for the Chiefs with you, and that's 6-1 on what I would imagine is a fairly substantial outlay of cash.
No, it's going to be if they win. Yeah, I thought from the beginning, I really did, and now it's coming back down. I thought the line was wrong. I mean, when it first came out, the Chiefs were 1. Then it went to the Eagles 2.5 because huge money came in the Eagles. But now it's down to 1.5. They think by game time it might be 1 because they're hearing more and more Mahomes is fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure how fine he is. I mean, he said that that didn't impact him at all, that ankle injury. But you could see during the progress of the game as it went on, he was getting worse and worse. I mean, and that happens a lot, right? I mean, you go out there to play ball and you're thinking I'm fine, and then you're playing for like 15 minutes and everything's good, and then slowly it begins to deteriorate. It gets tweaked a little bit somehow, and once that trigger happens, it goes right back to what it was when you walked off the field, with half a leg in the first place. So we'll see. I'm hoping. I'd like to see a level playing field, though. I mean, I don't like when teams are compromised. Like the 49ers were in that game. Yeah, I mean,
that's a shame.
Takes all of the steam out of the contest there. So I'm hoping Mahomes is relatively close to full strength. And
I don't think anybody gives Andy Reid enough credit.
Oh yeah, you think Andy Reid is being undersold? Yeah.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, the guy went to 4 championships with the Eagles, 5 in a row with the Chiefs. He's a quiet guy, and he's not, a camera guy, but he does a great job. I mean, you don't think he wants to kick the Eagles' ass? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. And he's a great, and the 3rd time he's in the Super Bowl. I think that helps too as a coach. I really do.
Yeah. Well, and you don't want to have a losing record either. Yeah. I mean, Don Shula probably, he went to his grave probably thinking, my God, how did I lose to the Jets? Unbelievable. All right, Greek. So are you on any of the props yet on the Super Bowl? I know we'll get your pick next week on the game, although you sound like you're all over the Chiefs. So there it is.
Yeah, I'll give you some props next week that I love. And, betting some college basketball, giving some people some games.
Let's do that.
Oh, good. So you're kind of getting back to yourself, and I sense, a sort of spiritual uplifting. That may be.
I think I'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I hope this girl continues. You didn't get one of these. This happened to me. I remember it still sticks out. Where I had a wonderful time with a young lady on what I thought was just a terrific first date. She calls and leaves me a message and says, "Wow, I mean, because I could fake being a gentleman." And she said, "You couldn't have been any more of a perfect gentleman." I mean, look, for how long does it go on after you're with a woman for a while that you still open her side of the car, for her to get in, like you were in Bronx Tale or something? 0, right? I mean, it's just like, yeah, the door's open. What are you talking about? I clicked it when I left the house.
I don't change. I'm sorry. I opened my door. I opened her door for years. My ex-wife for 7 years.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the way I was raised.
Before she slammed it on your foot.
Hey, I don't think you should. I mean, if I see you, I'll open the door.
Yeah. Anyway, make a long story short, so she leaves me this wonderful message, and I call her. I say, "Hey, what are you doing Friday? Let's go out again." And she says, "I don't see any reason why we would ever go out again." I'm like, "Wait a minute! You just said I was like the perfect guy." So women, I mean, who can figure them, right? So hopefully this continues.
That's why I went Friday.
Yeah, I mean, a vow of celibacy and a second home in Vegas probably isn't a bad idea. We ran into a guy yesterday that was living a dream like that. Greek, we love you, man. Thanks, and have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again next week on the show. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Love you guys. Have a great week. Lubie, keep in touch, brother.
Yeah, I'll
Peace.
talk to you. Thanks, Rick, man.
All right, very good. So he didn't consider that aggravated menacing.
Oh, he likes joining us.
Oh, okay, good. You never know,
He's next may think it's he actually works every week for us, and I don't think we've ever paid him a friggin' dime. So he may think it's aggravated menacing, and he's 100% accurate if he does think that, and it's going to continue.
Yeah, that was great. The professor coming up with the big board, and he says this one's a doozy. Which I mean, they're all great.
Yes, literally.
I think it's the best segment of any type of streaming I've seen. I mean, it's amazing the networks haven't picked up on this thing yet. And and he says this one's particularly good. So I'm thinking, what could it be? I mean, is it a Brady retirement?
12 things on how Brady sucks.
This could go deeper than 5.
We'll make like 12. We'll just pick a random number just to bash Brady.
For Jim Sarney, the streak is over. Did you catch that?
FAU.
He Svengali'd me into watching some FAU basketball. I actually tuned into the game last night to see what was happening.
He actually came up to the Lovers and had Ken talk for 10 minutes about FAU basketball. That's how FAU Sarney is.
It's amazing, yeah. And, so UAB beats them last night, ends their 20-game winning streak.
Ken was all over UAB, or at least talked about UAB.
UAB was favored in that game by like 1.5, which I mean, you're always looking. Look, all of these streaks come to an end at some point, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was UCLA, where they went from like Kareem to Walton or something. It's had to end at some point in time. So you're looking for the spot. If you're smart, where team's going to start to get overbent. They're ranked now. FAU, nobody ever heard of them, right? Who are they? The Owls. Woo!
Yes.
Right, this Dusty May. I mean, he looks the part of a young, ambitious college basketball coach that maybe he's using this as a stepping stone, but is all in while he's there. And so I mean, they were getting hammered early in the game. I mean, that was kind of a cakewalk. I don't know that it was ever in doubt. I could have texted Ken. I didn't know he was all over UAB. I just said, "Hey, it's over!" Right there with the first bucket.
Then I'm glad he didn't know you knew. I'm glad you didn't know. You would have fucking lost it.
Great spot to go against the trend. Unbelievable. So leave it to the professor to be on it. All right, we're going to bring up the professor here in just a moment and come back with the big board and some college basketball predictions and maybe some Super Bowl thoughts in a moment. Now that.
The time.
7:50 foe. The Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
This has been great because as cold as Jersey Kyle has been with his degenerate stimulus package horses, this man has been on fire with Australian rules football to the point where people are calling him Crocodile as he joins us here on the show. The Crocodile himself, the professor, now 14-8 in documented picks on Australian rules football. Professor, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, Defo. In fact, not only am I 14-8 and picking Australian rules football, I am 6-0 in Australia's favorite national game. Is this or is this not a night?
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
I would imagine he broke into a chorus of "Oh Happy Day, Oh Happy Day," not just because he cashed on UAB last night, because the announcement came and it sounded like it was directed straight at you, Professor, from Tom Brady himself. When he was looking into that cell phone camera, I thought he was looking directly into your eyes as he said, "I'm done." How are you, Professor? Good to have you on the program.
I'm not great, Deef.
What's the matter?
I'm sitting here waiting for you to get out of that interminable last segment. And I was going to go grab a book from my shelf to read while I'm waiting for you to get out.
Right.
And so we can start up. And I went back to my little library and I found it empty. And I asked my mom what's going on. She was like, "Oh, well, you were at Landlubbers last night. Ron DeSantis came to our house and took all your books." And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I don't think I had anything by a black author there. And then I realized I did have a copy of Fahrenheit 451, which I think in the state of Florida is no longer copacetic. You know, books
I think Jeb Bush got rid of that.
Books about banning books are no longer cool in the state of Florida.
Did he leave you a copy of Mein Kampf?
I'm a little depressed.
But
I think that probably would have gotten left behind, but I've never had one. So.
Yeah, not to bring up Nazis inappropriately here during your segment.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to bait me into, but I got to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You're not really stupid enough to believe he's actually retired, are you?
Who's that? Brady?
Brady.
I believe he's finished, yeah.
You think it's just a coincidence that 2 days before this dumbass movie that nobody wants to see comes out,
no, we
he
speculated
comes out
on that.
and quote-unquote retires, which means his name's going to be on top of every newscast in America immediately. There's no way this is real. This, honestly.
Could be both.
This is about as real as a Brett Favre-sponsored charity. In fact,
George Santos with a rescue dog. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that'll probably be the next phase is Brett Favre and Tom Brady will announce their joint charitable foundation.
Yes.
As Tom Brady comes back suspiciously 3 weeks into training camp and announces his entire salary will be donated to this charity. So therefore it's tax-free in 2023.
Exactly.
And then we find out the funds were used to build his son a Little League field somewhere, Indian Creek on land he just purchased down there. All right. And you were all over UAB last night, huh? You thought the streak was going to come to an end?
No, well, actually, I thought the streak was going to continue. We talked about it with Sarni a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
One of the strongest trends in college basketball this year has been ranked teams on the road playing unranked teams, and the unranked team is laying points, which was the scenario last night as UAB was laying, I think, 1.5. I think after last night, the number is 23-10.
Wow.
The unranked team covers, the unranked favorite covers. It's like 22-10, 23-10 after last night. It's been one of the strongest. Not to go all Mark Lawrence, who credit to him.
No, but that's
he's the trend guy, but that's been a very strong play throughout the course of the year. So yeah, under that number, you had to like UAB last night, and of course, they beat FAU up a little bit.
Are you still? I mean, did I get this wrong? Or were you not a big fan of Zach Edey? Did you think he was a stiff and not really a potential pro? Because
that's the part.
He's what? He's probably going to be
No,
player
I don't
of the year.
think. I mean, I think he would have been a high level potential pro in like 1998. But like, I mean, if you watch him, he's super ball dominant on offense. He's not. I mean, he is a rim protector just because he's so big.
Yeah.
But he's not what you would call a rim protector in the NBA right now because he's not athletic at all. He can't really move his feet. He's a giant. I mean, he's very effective college player, but in the pros, no, I don't think he really has a future.
Nice.
No, I mean,
he's kind of like you said, mechanical when he takes those hook shots, but he is effective with them though, both right and left-handed. I think.
He
least
is,
from what
but
I've seen,
again,
yeah.
you look at the big guys that everybody's
now,
looking for, like a Rudy Gobert. They're looking
Yeah.
for
athlete.
big
More athletic.
and super athletic, can hedge out against the pick and pop or the pick and roll, and then not ball dominant. They want a guy who offensively, his game is going to be offensive rebounds, stick backs, and being able to get the ball back out to the perimeter from the post when he draws a double. Like, that's the model for big men right now, and that's not Edie's game at all.
No.
I would actually say of the two, the kid from Kentucky, whose name I can never pronounce, the kid with the African name,
Oh yeah, Thrombey or whatever his name is. Yeah.
is the better pro prospect of the two. He's sort of more in the Bam Adebayo mode. He's
He's
bigger,
tough inside, man. He has moves like Zion Williamson. Although he's bigger, right?
meaning all he can do is dunk.
No, I mean, he has those nice little rolling layups to the basket.
I actually think he's got a pretty decent little offensive game, certainly more advanced than Bam's was, but I think he's got a similar lack of touch. You watch him operate outside of the 5-6 foot range, and the shot making's really not there. Which it is with Edie, but again, you look at Edie athletically, and you look at his game, and I don't see any NBA teams going to be willing to change their style of play to accommodate him.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But honestly, if you watch Euroball, he could probably go over to Europe and make a fortune.
Yeah, I mean, in the NBA, he's the chief in Cuckoo's Nest, but in Europe, he's probably a very valuable commodity. All right, any plays for us this week? Any insights? Any props that you're going to examine for the Super Bowl? What do you have on the Degenerate front for us?
Actually, on the Degenerate front, I want to talk a little bit about the segment you just had with the Greek. Because I have to disagree with the Greek on a couple of fronts here.
Okay.
Number one, the prop betting thing isn't because of lack of ADD or ADD or lack of attention span or whatever. The prop betting thing is something we've known for decades now, which is that young dudes will buy anything sold by hot chicks on the internet. A few years ago, it was these Instagram models hawking nutritional products and crap on Instagram. And now it is all these chicks who clearly have never watched a game in their life.
Yep.
On the internet, boobs hanging out. And don't get me wrong, they're all great looking, and I respect the hustle. Like,
they're good for them.
Sure.
It's not like Stu Feiner and the crew on Saturday morning weren't talking about weren't laying out some games that they had no clue about when they'd start, yapping about the MAC game randomly. Oh yeah, I broke down Eastern Michigan versus Central Michigan. Very solid 5-star play. It's not like those guys weren't full of crap. So I respect the hustle that these girls are doing, but see it for what it is. That when you have these chicks who are hawking these super obscure props that nobody would give a flying blank about.
Oh, now he doesn't want to.
And dude's running to FanDuel to bet on it.
Yeah,
like, you're an idiot. Like, when some chick is on the air, again, boobs hanging out, looking great in their tiny little outfit, talking about how the Clippers' backup center is definitely going over half an assist tonight. That's an easy money prop.
That's what they're betting on.
Some Slovenian who you've never heard of in your life, who's playing a game. And honestly, some of them have it smart because they know they're playing games you're never going to watch. You're never going to know that the Slovak you just bet on hasn't played in 2 weeks and probably isn't going to play tonight and hasn't had an assist in 3 months. So you're not going to watch that and be like the next day, hey, Tiffany, I noticed Zach Tabak didn't play tonight. What happened?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the situation just never came about. No, because you didn't know what you were doing. You're just firing out these half of them, by the way, sponsored by the sports books.
Yes,
which
all of them.
It's probably telling you, particularly when it comes to a prop or these multi-leg parlays, they really don't want you to win. And I think we need to start having these discussions, I think, in the gambling community about these apps, because I'm hearing a lot of horror stories. If you're not, what I would call a super casual, what I would call a dumb money player, they don't want anything to do with you. From what I've heard, FanDuel and DraftKings are notorious for it. If you are a serious player, they will throttle your bets down within 2 weeks, make it just about impossible for you to get that rollover out, make it very difficult for you to get your own money out, much less any profit. They're looking for like these 22-year-old dudes who want to come in, deposit $50 and fire it off $10 at a time on 17 parlays, on 16 prop parlays. Again, use your head. The longer the odds, as we were talking about with Sarnia last night, just go buy scratchers. The odds of you hitting are about the same, and at least with a scratcher, there's that 1 in a couple of million chance that you're going to hit for $500,000. You're going to hit for $1 million.
Sure.
And the odds of you getting your couple $100 on your $10 parlay are about the same odds as you hitting a couple $100 on a scratcher. Like they're dumb bets. Don't get taken in. And honestly, somebody needs to start to check the business models of these major apps, because I'm hearing a lot of horror stories about the big boys. So as this becomes more legal, I do think there needs to be more regulation in terms of watching how these companies are operating and what they're doing to the real, I mean, much like you would with the stock market. Like, okay, yes, is there a guy who bought XYZ stock at a penny and watched it go to $6 and sold out and made a fortune? Yeah. There's also dudes who got struck by lightning. And the odds of the two things are about the same. And you need to protect the standard guy who wants to bet $50, $100, and is a decent handicapper, has a decent opinion, and wants to do things the right way. And from what I'm hearing, not only aren't those people protected, they're intentionally being targeted by these apps.
So they kind of want the slot players of degenerate sports bettors, right?
100%,
Guys that are just willing to go ahead, put their money in
I
the
would
machine
say
there,
the
play
odds,
the max, and
I would say
spin
the odds
wheel.
on a slot machine are probably better than what most.
Maybe
I mean,
so,
look,
yeah.
Again, there's a reason people don't hit 6 and 17 parlays. It's hard to freaking do. If you do it once, you got lucky. Get your money out immediately.
Yeah.
Like, again, Defo, from back in the day, nobody ever went broke handing out those parlay cards at bars and offices.
No. Those guys were always doing well for themselves.
We're always rolling in cash. There's a reason nobody ever.
Why were they typed like ransom notes, though? I mean, they always had like all of a sudden there'd be like a capital Y in the middle of
Yeah,
Tampa
that was
Bay.
a little odd. And then the odds on the home teams were always a little suspiciously
Yes,
off.
I mean,
Down
always
here, the
shaved. I
Dolphins,
mean,
there's always
Francesco's odds, yeah,
like 3
exactly.
points the wrong way against the Dolphins. Yeah,
Right.
It's always a little strange.
Games that should be 4.5 were pick 'em. I mean, it was pretty bizarre. All right, we have to get to the big board, and it rarely, would Lubie give me a heads up saying that Professor really likes this one because.
I don't know where you got that from. By the way, I said it was a doozy. I've never used the word doozy in my life.
I said doozy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was paraphrasing the fact that Lubie was very excited about this particular one. Yeah.
It's like, you're going to like this.
But I heard a comment the other day during Tom Brady's obviously fake retirement. About 10 minutes after he put it on Twitter that he was retiring, and the stupid video on the beach, all that missing was some dumbass walking on the beach music, as he had the condo buildings in the background. Because most people get up at 6:30 in the morning and go down to the beach.
Yes,
condo buildings to film their retirement announcement. That didn't seem staged at all.
Yeah, no, that looked a little bit suspicious.
And the Today Show comes on. I think it was the Today Show. It was one of the other morning shows, whichever one was on in the background for noise purposes.
Yeah.
And the comment by the announcer was, Tom Brady is like pizza. Even if he's not your favorite thing, everybody likes pizza and everybody likes Tom Brady. And my immediate reaction was,
you had to throw up.
That's a load of bullshit. The movie isn't bunches everybody in the world likes Tom Brady. The movie is burned up old hags. Most of whom deserve to rot. Love Tom Brady. They had to go get Jane Fonda. Like, could you not?
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will about Jane Fonda's politics, the politics of the Vietnam War. If you are such a if you're such a scumbag that you actually went over to Vietnam and filmed propaganda that you knew was going to be used to psychologically torture prisoners of war, you are a whole new level of human garbage. And that's who is the star in Tom Brady's movie.
Hanoi
Jane Fonda. Hanoi Jane. Exactly. So that's the real Tom Brady fan base is burned up old hags who should have been put in prison and left
with Nazi leanings,
40 years ago. That's really Tom. Don't tell me Tom Brady's not like pizza. And I'm sitting there thinking of things like what Tom Brady is. And that is today's big board, folks.
Okay.
Is the big board of NFL quarterbacks as food and drink items.
Very good.
And I will give you a preview right off the top. Tom Brady is not pizza, people.
All right.
Tom
Very
Brady is no way pizza. And I agree, by the way. Everybody likes pizza, but not everybody feels that way about Tom Brady.
I hate Tom Brady.
No.
So let's go to number 5, which is
Number 5.
Russell Wilson is hard seltzer. A few
Very
years
appropriate.
back, everybody was sort of fascinated with the concept of both hard seltzer and Russell Wilson because it's kind of a hybrid, right? It's not really a cocktail. It's not really beer. It's some sort of thing in between. Russell Wilson's not really a running quarterback. It's not really a pocket quarterback. But much like hard seltzer still will get you drunk, the Russell Wilson thing kind of worked for a while. But number 1, what did you find out? That both are exclusively enjoyed by douchebags.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. I'm not a fan of that stuff.
Both make a terrible combination with weed.
Yeah. Not even a good buzz, I don't think.
Both come in all sorts of bizarre flavors that are only enjoyed or thought about by weirdos, because never once have I thought, using the example here, you know what I'd like is a black cherry malt liquor. And never once, like Russell Wilson, have I thought is, you know what I would enjoy for my 30th birthday? Dressing up like Batman.
My 4-year-old grandson, Christian, was dressed up like Batman for Halloween.
Exactly. And both in 2023 are only still endorsed by an overrated new brewer or coach who thinks they can invent an exciting new flavor that the rest of the world really wants nothing to do with at this point, because the rest of us moved on a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no, that stuff sucks. Mustang is a big fan of High Noon. And it's disgusting. I told her she only buys it because she knows that that's one thing she'll put in the fridge that I will never touch. Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 5 is Russell Wilson. That takes us to number 4, which is Lamar Jackson is the Popeyes fried chicken sandwich.
Well, you better be careful here.
Alone.
This is.
We want to issue a disclaimer here. These are the thoughts of the professor.
Hold on. Let me finish. Allow me to finish. If you have a black friend, they will swear that this is the greatest innovation in the history of mankind, who has completely changed the game, whether the game be food or the quarterback position. If you have a white friend who is not old, they actually secretly like both Lamar Jackson and the Popeyes chicken sandwich, but they don't want to admit it, and they won't talk about it in public because they're scared they'll get kicked out of the country club if they admit that they enjoy them. Both are only actually disliked by very old white people whose taste buds have never been able to handle Popeyes and can't deal with the fact that there's an effective quarterback who plays outside of the pocket.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a small percentage of people who think that both are being held down by corporate interests, be it Lamar Jackson in the NFL or the Popeyes chicken being held down by the Chick-fil-A people.
Very possible, yeah. I thought you'd have to be careful there, maybe get into a Fuzzy Zeller type of jackpot there. But no, that was well done, Professor. The way you danced around the possibilities.
Let me be very clear. I love the Popeyes.
Yeah, you're both.
And I freely admit, would I necessarily want Lamar Jackson as my quarterback? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the price tag. But I love watching the guy play. Who doesn't love watching Lamar Jackson play? And he made
much more so than this Huntley cat that they had out there. It would make a big difference.
Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley from Florida?
2 touchdown passes, yeah. Can't wait to see the Pro Bowl. Are you betting the Pro Bowl, Professor?
Tyler Huntley, who is like the 3rd best quarterback in Broward County as a senior.
Here's your Pro Bowl starter. Yeah, exactly. All right, very good. Why did the Popeyes fried chicken sandwich? I mean, when it first came out, you had to wait it was Chick-fil-A. And I don't understand the fascination with Chick-fil-A. I mean, it's okay. If you like it, I have no problem with you. But I wouldn't go out of my way to get one of those. Yeah. And then they have triple lines now. I mean, literally, it's like
because if you went on Twitter, mostly your black friends were on there the first couple of weeks talking about how it was a religious experience to eat the Popeyes chicken sandwich. Much like, for example, Bomani Jones, who's a guy who I often agree with, watches Lamar Jackson plays and goes on and talks about, once again, as if he has been given he has heard from the burning bush about what NFL quarterbacking has become. There was an amazing amount of hype about the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Yes.
Much like there still is about Lamar Jackson every time he posts up one of those, 300-yard passing, 110 yards rushing games. But as it's gone over time, you've realized, okay, there's problems here also.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well stated. All right. That's number 4. Lamar Jackson, the Popeyes fried chicken sandwich.
Number 3, Aaron Rodgers is a pimento cheese sandwich served at Augusta National Golf Course.
Yeah, I mean,
If
you
you
make a
go
case
back
for
like 10 years ago, it sounded just different enough that you're like, this is actually kind of cool, right? Like, there's something a little exotic about the concept of a pimento cheese sandwich. There's something a little interesting about a quarterback who was more interested in being a Jeopardy contestant than he was in winning MVP trophies. There was a little something there that made you think it's a little off kilter, but I like the concept. You flash forward 10 years later, and the only people who are enthusiastic about either one of them are old white men who long for a simpler time when women and minorities knew their place and didn't talk in public.
All hail Hootie Johnson.
You realize that Aaron Rodgers, quote unquote, being different was just a disguise for Aaron Rodgers being every right-wing douchebag on the planet. Every libertarian from the 1980s who wanted to be like a super Republican, but also do massive amounts of drugs, like in Aaron Rodgers' case, his noted passion for psychedelics.
Yes.
Much like the pimento cheese sandwich, at some point you realize, oh, it's just cheese and mayonnaise on white bread that they're serving to you for $12. I'm telling you what, it's a
even
great
for
deal,
a buck,
because it's a throwback. It's just to a simpler time when America was easier. That's it. What makes Aaron Rodgers the Augusta National pimento cheese sandwich?
I can see Jim Nantz shoveling a couple of those in his face
Exactly,
before he goes out there and welcomes everybody to Amen Corner with a robust hello, friends. All right, that's
What
number
makes
3.
it Jim Nantz doesn't carry those around in his pocket 24 hours a day.
He strikes me as a type that would enjoy
I feel
that,
like Jim Nantz dedicates a good bit of his CBS money to having a guy with a cooler full of pimento cheese sandwiches
at a buck. Yeah,
follow him around just constantly. Hello,
Yeah.
friend. Would you like a pimento cheese sandwich? Let's talk about Augusta National.
Yeah, I mean, it's right around the corner, man. I mean, between that and the fact that Rihanna is going to be the halftime entertainment at the Super Bowl.
Didn't you love hello, friend. Didn't you love Aaron Rodgers' stance on COVID?
It's just a
Brings me
disease.
back to a simpler time where doctors knew their place.
Yeah, I mean, and he's likely to be treated by some guy that has the medical, knowledge of Doc from Gunsmoke. I think.
He's likely to be treated by a guy who's still around from the 1960s and refused to give the polio vaccine and thinks it's a conspiracy that 8 of his patients have been in wheelchairs for the last 50 years.
Yeah, only Benny Hinn. All right, that's number 3. Number 2 on the big board
2.
this week. Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is a blue martini bought for you by a beautiful woman at the bar of the same name. When it happens, it's beautiful. It feels luxurious.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like $1 million that this beautiful woman out of nowhere has approached you. And then you have a metallic taste in your mouth that makes you think, maybe this wasn't the greatest idea in my life. And then 12 hours later, you wake up, your watch and your wallet are missing, and you have a feeling that you can't quite remember, but that you've been violated in some sense. That is nothing but a fuzzy memory.
Yeah.
And this applies both to the cocktail and to Deshaun Watson being a member of your football team.
Very
Remember,
much so.
Cleveland Browns fans really felt good about that a year ago.
Never giddy.
How you feeling now, guys? Again, can you taste that taste of tin and bitter almonds in the back of your throat? Do you think maybe something happened? Why is your Rolex missing?
Classic, man. I mean, very, very strong equation there. Deshaun Watson and a blue martini at the Blue Martini.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, the
And
professor
number
rolling.
one, I'm going
Yes.
to tell you, is Tom Brady. And I'm going to tell you, it's not pizza. And everybody loves pizza. I agree with that. Basically, everybody does love pizza.
Everyone does like pizza.
Tom Brady, on the other hand, is a very different food item, and one that I'm sure is going to offend Mike Mayo, who's coming up later.
I know where you're
who is
going.
a fan of both Tom Brady
Yeah.
Oh no.
and Skyline Chili. Tom Brady
You got it.
is
You got
a
it.
plate
You
of
got it.
Skyline Chili.
Take that,
Whether
Mayo.
it be
Applauding you.
spaghetti and onions and chili and cheese all mixed together on a plate, or whether it be dumping the mother of your first child while she was pregnant, making out with your children and then putting pictures of it all over the internet and television,
Seldom
or
brought up during
cheating
these
for
tributes.
3 decades. The elements of these things by themselves are disgusting,
Yep.
but when you combine them, are absolutely repulsive.
Yeah.
Make for just the worst combination possible.
Yeah.
Only loved by very small geographic sections of the country. In the case of Skyline Chili, Cincinnati. In the case of Tom Brady, Boston. Both have very small pockets of support in the state of Florida that I personally believe they pay for, because I don't believe anybody in Tampa really loves Tom Brady. I think those are paid endorsers, much like I suspect people who endorse Skyline Chili of Fort Lauderdale have been paid over the years to endorse Skyline Chili of Fort Lauderdale, and both absolutely viewed somewhere between suspicious and loathed by everybody else in the country. Again,
there isn't
there's
enough
a
stuff on the
reason-
table at Skyline Chili to completely disguise the taste of just how absolutely lifeless this stuff is. Yeah, even on a five-way.
I agree with you 100%. There's nothing you could do to Skyline Chili. I don't
Yeah.
think you can put it on spaghetti. I
Nothing.
put it on anything. It's still disgusting. Much like talk about how great Tom Brady is, how he's the GOAT and won the championship. It doesn't hide up the fact that you make out with your kids and put it on
Yes.
the internet. Like some things leak out despite what you try to combine them with, and that's what you are. On
One
some
step
level,
away from
you're
Kevin Spacey.
disgusting and you can't hide it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And
it's very unusual. And I had a funny feeling
That's the
that this
reason
might be
most of
number
the
one.
country absolutely hates it.
Yeah, it's a reality.
All the people, by the way, who are now on CBS ripping Greg Olson like your man Phil Mushnick, it's because they're being paid to set the table for Tom Brady.
Oh, for Brady?
Oh,
CBS.
Well, what do you think of Olsen? I mean, are you an Olsen fan? He would
Compared to
have
Tom
potential
Brady,
for
I
me.
think he's the greatest thing in the history of the world.
Might be, yeah. Well, I mean, I would imagine you're going to have the sound down, and maybe even I don't know how you're going to catch games with Brady, the Fox #1 game next year.
I've got an order in at Best Buy the next time they have a major sale on TVs. I'm buying floor models so that I can sit in my movie room here and shoot TVs out like Elvis.
Tom, what'd you think about that? Yeah, I mean, that's going to be great next year. Where he hasn't said anything with any significance to it in terms of anything regarding his football career. So I don't know how deep he's going to go into a thing where
he's not. It's
he
fake.
might be valuable in that role.
Again, he's not. It's fake. This is all a work to promote that stupid movie because nobody wants to see the movie. Have you heard anybody? Have you talked to anybody who's like, "Oh, I can't wait for AE for Brady"?
I didn't even know it was a movie. I thought it was coming out on TV, like on Netflix or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
it's actually in theaters.
It's much like they're trying to foist Tom Brady on America. Everybody loves Tom Brady. Again, is the movie called Everybody for Brady, or males 18 to 60 for Brady, or females 80 for Brady? They entirely isolated to horrible old women. That's Tom Brady's entire family.
Old bags for Brady.
98% of it.
Brady.
Old hags who should be in prison for Brady. Old hags who should have been deported from the United States decades ago for Brady.
Lily Tomlin's nice.
Bag ladies for
Lily
Brady.
Tomlin is so old that she actually
I didn't know she was alive. I thought I had her in a
went
Deadpool
before the
and
House On-American Activities Committee. That's how old Lily Tomlin is.
Lily Tomlin.
And that's how strong her communist leanings were, that she got dragged in front of McCarthy. That's how old Lily Tomlin is.
Professor Always Great, what do you got planned for the weekend? Anything special?
Obviously going to 80 for Brady multiple times.
Get your popcorn ready for that. All right, outstanding
No,
job.
I plan on torturing everybody who actually went.
You just stand like it's an abortion
Are
clinic.
you going to be
No,
outside?
I'm gonna buy popcorn and Milk Duds and throw them at everybody throughout the theater until I ruin their experience. Get out of here!
We used to buy the Jawbreakers because they were the hardest candy. That
No,
was
you know
when we
how
brought
there's
the
always
fire
that
around
one
the theater.
jerk in the theater who's looking at his phone and won't shut up and ruins it for everybody. If you're going to see 80 for Brady in Broward County this weekend, it'll be me. Hi, come up and say hi, Ken.
Your phones.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm not even having fun. I'm just bringing a full spotlight so I can shine up. I'm taking pictures. You people should be ashamed of yourselves for doing what you've done.
You're actually paying money for this.
So you're like the guy that got up in front of me at Seabiscuit and said, "They got the exacta."
No. I'm gonna be much worse than
He
that.
beat War Admiral that day in a match.
No. I'm the guy who got up in front of Seabiscuit and peed in your soda. That's what-
That was at the Civic Follies in Syracuse. That was not an uncommon practice. All right, Professor, always a pleasure, my friend.
We
Have a
Thanks
great
so much for
one,
being
guys.
with us. Yeah, the
Oh,
professor,
that was
ladies
great.
and
Oh
gentlemen.
my God, that's classic.
Mayo's, he's going to be upset now. He's going to think that we're like poking more fun at him. With the professor,
It is. Look, you even admit it, it's not horrible. It's just not something you're going out of your way.
you know what? It's relatively tasteless for having like 5 different items in there.
Yeah.
Honestly, my opinion hasn't changed much. I mean, the first time I had it, I was with a woman who was from Cincinnati, the Cincinnati area, and she loved this stuff, right? And they had the place, and it was fairly popular, I guess, down there on Federal Highway, which has been, in the process of being converted to a Jiffy Lube for the last 6 years. Maybe there was just so much grease there that they couldn't get rid of it. Now, the people at Mayo took us over to that place, the one remaining location, which is in like Davie or something.
Sunrise.
Sunrise, and the people couldn't have been any nicer. And you know what? If you like it, great. I don't have a problem with people that go in there and they want to get for like $8 or whatever it is. I don't even know if it's that much money.
Less, and it's
like
quick.
Just a pile of shit on a plate, regardless of lack of taste.
I just don't. Look, I don't have the.
There's nothing you could put on it though. You could put like a load of hot sauce. Like sometimes you get like a bland chili in a place, and you just dump so much hot sauce on it that it takes on a little bit of flavor.
Yeah.
But with Skyline Chili, there's no way to fix it, is what I found. And you have to be a sick bastard to take half of it home and then eat it cold like a day or two later.
No, you can't eat it
out of the styrofoam.
Even I'm the king of the to-go box. I never would take. No. You eat it there, or you call it a day. Like I don't.
And those hot dogs are badly overrated. Whatever they call
That's
those
my
things.
problem is they're not hot.
Yeah.
That's my okay. So my problem with it is, first of all, I don't understand having cinnamon. Like I understand sometimes.
I mean, somebody ran out of the proper ingredients and said, "Let me just." You know how you've done this. I mean, it was like when I was cooking in college, right? You would just throw anything on there.
Mask. Yep.
And then somehow, by accident, you would come up with something that people liked, and you go, "How the hell did I make that? I don't even know." I just took every spice that was in the cabinet there and threw it in there. Curry, yeah. How about a little dash of that? The tasteless, nature. I mean, you would think it was perfect for the pandemic because if people lost their sense of taste, then they could eat Skyline Chili and think it was just as good as getting a chicken parm, at Runway 84. I don't know. That's an oddity with Mayo. Because Mayo likes a little bit of kick in this stuff. Yeah. He wants to be schwitzing.
He likes it. Like I don't think it's horrible. I just think it's nothing. It's just nothing to it. It's
nothing. Yeah, you wouldn't go out of your way ever, to ever have it again, right? If somebody stuck it in front of you, would you take a bite?
Yeah, fine.
Maybe. Yeah. But every time it would be the same reaction, which is, why is anybody eating this? How did it become popular?
That's the thing.
That happens, though, with certain entertainers, singers, and you're wondering, I mean, with all the talent that's out there, how did this guy become like the number one artist in the world, and everybody, can't wait to have his next release come out? And it happens with food, too, where, I mean, even, with Chick-fil-A, I don't know, am I missing something here?
Okay, look, I disagree with you.
The Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is okay. I don't know. It's a fried piece of chicken on a piece of bread.
I like it, but I
With a
never eat
pickle.
it anymore because I'm not waiting in like the lines that it has compared to other restaurants. It's not equal to reality.
They
Like,
have air traffic controllers working there now. Not even like, guys they just hired to go, hey, move it up, sister, will you? And they're pointing, to different lines, like you were at, Wolfie's Rascal House in the old days. Yeah, party at 3? No, middle ropes. I can't believe it, And then, every now and then, you're thinking, oh, geez, I don't want to get stuck behind a bus. But then you realize it's not a bus that's holding up traffic in the right lane. And even into the middle lane, it's spilling over the effect of all of these people trying to turn into a Chick-fil-A. And there's one on every corner now. They're like 7-Elevens. All over the place. It's not like it's hard to find one, right? I mean, at some point in time, if you're driving like more than a couple of miles, you're going to pass a Chick-fil-A, are you not?
Yep.
An amazing phenomenon, right?
That's the one thing I'll agree with you. I actually like it. Of the fast food, I usually rank it the highest outside of
It might be. I haven't tried many things there. I actually only ate Chick-fil-A that I can recall like one time.
Yeah,
and I was at a baseball game with the lovely and talented Leslie Visser, and our good friend Dan Solomon was hosting a party there, a little suite that he had acquired there, which was very nice. And the coach came in, and it was fantastic. And we had a good time. And they had a bunch of sandwiches from Chick-fil-A. They had the chicken sandwich there. So okay, maybe I was getting this cold like an hour or two after the fact. That's possible.
Yeah, it's better fresh.
It was all right, but I was thinking, what am I doing here? I mean, either get rid of the bun, or you can't do both.
You didn't grow up on chicken sandwiches. See, I grew up on chicken sandwiches. My mom loved Chick-fil-A. So I like Chick-fil-A. When it comes to the chicken sandwich, when it comes to fast food, it's as good as any to me. However, the popularity of it, I don't like the fact that like any time of the day, like there's never a downtime. Like I'm waiting 20 minutes any time of the day. Okay. Yeah. I never eat it because it's not that. It's still a fucking chicken sandwich. Like it's not like it's not going to Even Keel and getting the freaking oysters or even wicked cheesesteaks with the crazy stuff Brian does. Where you're like, what the hell? Did he just make it? Okay. Like that's different.
He does a lot of variations on a theme, which is
a chicken sandwich. Like, and I don't wait and you don't wait at all there. Like they're so quick. You're in and out, but I'm waiting 20 minutes for a chicken. I mean, it's like, okay, that's fucking weird. Like I don't.
Well, and the whole term fast food, right? Just the concept is blown to smithereens.
Yep.
As you're sitting there 20, 25 minutes. But I mean, you would think because so many people, are willing to endure that it must really be great. My son was telling me about a place, and I want to say it started with an H, like Hattie's Chicken or something like that. I'll have to ask Mayo when he comes on about this place. But people wait an hour to get a chicken sandwich at this place in Nashville, Tennessee. It's something along the lines of Hattie's. Bring in the Gambling Gourmet here to see if you can clarify a couple of things here for me, because I can't remember the names from yesterday that my son gave me about these restaurants. Are you familiar with a chicken sandwich place in Nashville, Tennessee, where people literally wait around the block an hour or so just to get a sandwich? By the way, you look like you just
he definitely wasn't
got hit with a haymaker from B. Mayo here or something.
You expect me to give you information now after this declaration of war?
With the skyline,
laying down the gauntlet. I mean, you might as well
admit that you're defeated. You're a shot fighter on this thing. Yeah,
the professor just might have taken just as well have just taken out his schlong and just peed all over me. That's it.
Pretty clever though. When you work the food team in,
it was great. I have some issues with. So the places in Nashville, the hot chicken sandwich places is I think it's Hattie B's.
Is it Hattie or something like that?
Oh wait, there's a place in Saratoga that was also.
This is Nashville, Tennessee. My son went there and he said they actually did it, and and he also ate at some. What is the Michelin star high end? Is there more than one in Miami? That where you get like the 7-course meal or whatever.
And we're talking about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about L'Atelier de Joël Robuchon. That's the two. That's the only two Michelin stars. The Stubborn Seed, I love. My man Jeremy Ford.
Right, this was somewhere else though, but it was down in Miami, and he said a little pricey, not the greatest, but
wait, who your son went? Or?
Yeah, my son went for his birthday with his lovely wife.
Wait,
Kelly.
So which place did he go? Ariete or?
You know what? It was neither of those, so I'll have to check.
Wasn't Stubborn Seed? It's good because I like Stubborn Seed.
Sounded like it started with a K. Is there one that starts with a K?
That's KYU, the one that was.
Oh, maybe the Mayo place.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to double check with him.
It's always good to know the name. Okay, so in Nashville, the hot chicken famous places are Hattie B's.
That's it, Hattie B's.
Prince's.
Yeah.
And my favorite, which is kind of on the other side of the tracks in the East Tennessee part of town, called Bolton's Fish and Chicken. And that is a real, just a down-home place, a black-owned business, and it really has good hot chicken and hot fish, too. They have,
he said it was worth it. In the cold, waiting an hour. In the long run, the Hattie B's chicken sandwich, would he necessarily run out of his way to do it again? Maybe not, but it was worth the wait. And he said it seemed like 2 hours because it was freezing outside. But, I mean, that's quite a tribute, huh? I mean, when you get that. Are you a fan of the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich? Would you wait like 20 minutes like Lubie does?
I do.
Chick-fil-A chicken.
First of all, you pull in there, and like Lubie said, it's like there's never a downtime. I don't know how they just constantly have a stream of traffic, but they also have I think they recruit former Army Rangers and air controllers, the ones that work on the deck.
Those guys that work
aircraft carriers, because they come in and they their operations team. They get people in and out, even though the line is backed up like a half mile. It clogs every major artery, whether it's University Drive, that one there, or Federal Highway and the one in Fort Lauderdale. Is it worth it? Probably not. I do like the basic Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. It always goes better with a little dose of homophobia, but
yeah, maybe so.
And so a lot of people refuse to patronize it because of the politics of their founding family. And besides never on Sunday, it's never with the same sex. So that's but they don't discriminate in terms of employment or serving customers based on sexual orientation. So that's the only thing that kind of, in my mind, look. Back in the day, before there was a Popeye's chicken sandwich, which is a little bit heftier and a different style, but the Chick-fil-A sandwich, and they dust it with a coating of MSG and crack, so that makes it tastier. But the MSG makes it and again, it has to be the classic fried chicken. People who go into Chick-fil-A and get a grilled chicken sandwich are like the same people that go to I don't know, the Joe's Stone Crab and order steak. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I am sort of astonished at the popularity of that stuff. And it was okay. I don't think
back.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go back and take some shots at the professor, though? I mean,
no. I mean, look. He has his point of view. He's absolutely right about 80 for Brady. This
he knows his food too. I mean, he really does.
Oh, he does. He does. Yeah. And I just don't understand who greenlighted or greenlit
it's Brady
this movie.
It's his production.
It's a vanity production. Yes, but if it's a vanity production, shouldn't it be like hot 20-somethings that are going to be my next wife for Brady?
Maybe they didn't run the concept by him before he signed off on it.
I think it's like some Hollywood executive says, "Oh, let's make a catchy title, 80s for Brady." That's a
Bag
rhyme.
Ladies for Brady.
And it's like I have no desire to see that. I don't care.
I'm surprised it's an actual movie, aren't you? I didn't realize that when it was being promoted. I thought it was just on a
it was
channel,
an actual movie, and I have absolutely 0.0 interest in seeing it. But no, going back to his big board, though,
I think he'll have the same level of success as Liev Schreiber did when he tried to play Chuck Wepner in the movie by the same name, which we saw the preview of and realized it was never getting out of that theater. Never. It was a piece of shit.
Certain things that just
he looked nothing like Wepner, acted nothing like him. He was Ray Donovan to me the entire time. I was waiting for him to break out a baseball bat.
What's the plot line of this movie? They said it's based on a real story, a true story. So
I don't know. Some lady that's in love with Brady. Is that it? I don't get it.
These old ladies have one last hurrah, is what I guess.
I assume it's based
a coincidence, though. That do you think some? I mean, whoever the executive producer was on this, if it wasn't Brady himself, called and said, "Hey, listen, Tommy Boy, man, no one's going to go see this prick of a movie. It's not exactly like we created Papillon here."
Nobody tells them to their face. I assume.
So you better do something. Make an announcement. Retire.
I assume the movie is built around one of his Super Bowl winning seasons and not this past season.
It's the Falcons year. It's the year
okay. All right.
Wow.
That means I really don't care about it.
Oh, yes. That's
ancient history. No, but okay, 3 bones of contention with
how many weeks before it's streaming for free?
It's not weeks. It's going to be hours. It's going to be going next week. I would see by if it's in the theaters on Friday, by Sunday night.
By
you'll be able
Sunday
to
night,
stream
it'll
it.
be like available everywhere. Yeah, Hulu, Fire Stick, everybody will have it.
And it still won't sell.
Yeah.
No, okay. So 3 bones to pick with Mr. Professor or Dr. Professor if he has a PhD. And now, do you see that people are upset that Dr. Jill Biden with her PhD is referred to as doctor? Just the new heights of absurdity for the right wing.
That chiropractor I referred to that introduced me to my first wife and the mother of my son Jesse, who turns 40 today. So we should be betting a bunch of 2-3-8s out of the track. Don't you? That's one of your things.
Well, my late friend Roy Slanoff, who used to work in the
Slammer.
publicity department there at Gulfstream, his numbers and his get out numbers was 2-3-7-8 box, and just always
last
in the
race,
last
arbitrarily,
race,
no matter what.
at the 2-3-7-8 exacta and trifecta boxes, and sometimes you will escape with a lot more money than you ended up digging yourself a hole with. So that's
Or else
so
you're down
I'm all
another
on board.
36, right? I mean, that's all that can happen there.
That's true. All right, so my 3 bones of contention. Number one, high noons are not as bad as you would
They're
think.
horrible.
Okay,
horrible.
Okay, I say this with kind of
you like
regret and
seltzer. You like a seltzer.
I love
that's right.
seltzer.
Yeah, you're a seltzer guy.
Well,
So you may as well
but
spritz it with something.
Stick with me for a second.
All
The
right.
first generation of these drinks, the Zimas, were the most foul, just horrendous drinks, insipid. It tasted like a combination of medicine and aqua velva, and if you shook it up and put it in a can, those kind of Zima based supposed vodka drinks were terrible. All right, now even though David Portnoy is now a paid ambassador spokesman for High Noon, or Nooners as he calls them, and as much as I sometimes loathe David Portnoy, mainly out of jealousy because
he's a billionaire
and he doesn't only take one bite; he takes like 4 or 5 bites.
Shovels it in there like he's Mike Mayo with the cheese.
But not like me. He doesn't unhinge the jaw and do it. Now, if he really wants to do one bite like me, he could shove a whole slice.
By the way, my son loves. He said, "What was this guy doing the other day, man?" He was like drinking spaghetti sauce.
Oh yeah,
they're big Mayo fans, man.
Oh, good. You
The
mean
whole
the
family.
the grandchildren?
Grandkids like the fact that all of this kind of clown stuff that you end up doing.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on
I'm
demand
there to
from
amuse
Lubie.
them. What am I? A clown? I am
They like it. They really do. I mean, it's very, very popular.
Well, good. Maybe we can tap into that younger demographic. So it's
That's it. Everybody wants that 4-year-old demographic for. Like you're on the old Sonny Fox show. Yeah.
Wonderama. I'll be the next face to Wonderama. Where was I? So Nooners, I like them, and you know what? They were one of the partners at the Best of Delray Beach party at the OG the other night. Everybody got a drink ticket that could be redeemed for either a cocktail or a High Noon can. And I
would have gone to the well.
I got a can of the Black Cherry High Noon, and I got to tell you, Defo, it tastes like a well-balanced, not as sweet Dr. Brown's cherry
Did you have
soda
some
that
kind of
gives-
hormone change or something? What happened to you, Mayo?
You're not like
You used to be a guy like I respected, a Jimmy Breslin type character that would belly up to the bar and say whiskey all the way around.
What's funny is Shirley loves the flavored seltzer.
Now you're an advocate of High Noon Black
I'm
Cherry.
not advocating. I'm not saying anybody should go out and actually buy it, but if it's the only thing available, you get one for free.
Only thing available. If I was in the desert, if I was in the Mojave and I was about to die, if I didn't have a drop of some liquid.
What about if the choice was watching a full broadcast at full volume with Greg Olson as your analyst? Or
I would take
drinking
Olson,
a High
yeah.
Noon.
At least I like
Really?
Olson personally.
Okay.
So yeah. Whereas this
It's
other
not
stuff
that
is a
bad.
big
It's like
sham
drinking
going.
like a hard Dr. Brown's Black Cherry soda. It's not the worst thing in the world. I could think of worse
It's
things.
watered down everything. I mean, it's watered down.
All right,
booze.
well, I'm
And-
gonna-
and-
I guess-
and what vodka are they stimulating this stuff with? Do we have a brand?
Well, they infuse it with vodka, but it's vodka.
What kind of vodka?
It's like it's just your basic well vodka. Vodka
it's
is just
vodka,
yeah.
What are the other two things? What are your other?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
the
is
other
it
two
high
things-
karate? What is it that they put in there? I don't know. You mentioned
I don't
Aqua Velva.
When you're in a pinch and that's the only thing around, you could drink one of those, and it's better. And you're talking about Breslin. He once was the pitchman for Peel's beer, and don't tell me Peel's was good.
Peel's was a great beer, man.
Like Schlitz. All right. So what are your other two?
Oh, and speaking of bad beer, the other night, this is what I love, Brad and Dave over at Even Keel. I went over there on Tuesday night they have their $2 oyster night premium.
Yeah, I
oysters
saw you.
for
I had
$2.
like about 24 oysters. Man.
And also on the menu, they have a choice of 2 beers to accompany your oysters, and for $2. The $2 beer offerings are, they put it on the menu like this.
Yeah.
Miller High Life, and then
Yeah.
down below on the menu it says the champagne of beers, which is what it says on the
Right, that was their tagline.
And then the other $2 offering is Narragansett.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a 16-ounce can of Narragansett?
Narragansett, a very popular beer with a lot of people, though. In fact, at Billy Jack's Shack, I mean, it's a very popular item on their drink menu.
I believe it's a beer that was in, I guess, Rhode Island, if that's where Narragansett is, right? And it's I ordered a can of it and I poured it out, and I took a sip, and it gave me all these horrendous flashbacks to college and dorm living,
Peels,
and
Schlitz.
just having these horrendous hangovers with this horrible, it doesn't have the best flavor. It didn't go down real good, but I love on the can and also on the menu there, they put it's Narragansett, made on honor and sold on merit. That's what it says on the can. Made on honor,
noble of them
sold
to
on
do that.
merit.
Yeah.
So it's a very noble beer. So that was,
no doubt about it.
I
mean, we're going to come back.
Wait. I got 2 more things, but
we got to work in some ads here. All right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
I'll
know how
shut
this
up now.
business works.
2 more things. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Just, rest, don't go into Greg Olson mode here. And we'll come back with more with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:48. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
He'll fight Brian Cox in the locker room. He'll challenge Bill Parcells to a verbal shout out. He'll stare down Johnny Chan while holding pocket tubes.
And then he goes
Mike
to
Mayo,
the
the
London
Gambling
Business
Gourmet.
School for the savants.
How about that? Yeah.
I will crush
London
your
School
hopes
of
and
Finance.
dreams with it.
Mike
Oh,
Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, joins us here.
I do all those things, and I also crush your hopes and dreams with a 3-word text giving you the bad news about game one.
Well, this was particularly brutal, and Michael, I thank you for doing that.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
My beer is Rheingold, a dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, not sweet. Ba, 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 ba. I don't remember all of the words there, but I do remember ogling at Miss Rheingold. I mean, early masturbatory material, Miss Rheingold. No, because it was
Schaefer,
around a time I was just, experiencing these sort of impulses.
we've been singing a lot lately.
Yeah.
Schaefer is the one beer
One
to
beer to
have
have when you're having more than one.
Meet
Yeah.
the mess.
It was like the last beer you wanted to have if you were having more than one. I mean, Schaefer, that was some real rock cut there.
All right, so let me get to these two
Yeah,
other
okay,
bones
get
of
to those
contention,
things,
and then we'll
quickly
get
here.
into the Holy Bull because we got a good week of racing and people
right.
coming out to Gulfstream, and you got to tell me the restaurant. Text me the restaurant, and I'll come up with the clues. Or do you have clues that you want?
You come up with the clues,
show's in
but
3 hours,
I have the one obvious clue, which
Okay,
was their
well,
whole signature dish thing.
all right. Well,
Yeah.
don't give out any hints yet. We got to save that as a lunchbox exclusive. But
All right.
all right. So the other two bones of contention, he's disparaging the pimento sandwiches at Augusta National. As somebody who covered the Masters for 15 times,
Don't tell me you ate those too.
I got to give. Okay, first of all, I did not like pimento cheese
Oh, good.
sandwiches. It
Okay.
offended all of my Brooklyn Jewish sensibilities.
Yeah.
However, I did see the virtues in the pimento cheese sandwich. There were two of them back in the day. They were sold at the time that I was at Augusta National for 50 cents.
Yeah, they were like a buck.
Now it's still a dollar.
Now it's probably still $1. It's incredible the way they hold the line on the concessions.
The tickets are 8,000 if you can get your hands on them, but the sandwiches are buck.
And they used to do a Chick-fil-A style chicken fillet sandwich on a bun that was breaded that had nice spices. And back in the day, those were only $1.50.
Yeah,
and they were every bit as good as.
But try getting in if you're just a regular Joe.
I know, but they were every bit as good as Chick-fil-A, and they were served with the same side of homophobia and racism. So
you're strong.
Now, the pimento sandwich, the two virtues, one was the affordability, the 50 cents. The second one was that it cut the median age and lifespan of a whole flock of bigoted, douchey old white guys who would actually like to ride around in golf carts in their hometown.
The streets, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Makes some sense. And then what was the?
And the third one is just Skyline Chili. Okay, let's just stop this already. The big problem with Skyline Chili is whoever was the dunce that labeled it chili, because it was started by a Greek family, and it's Greek spaghetti sauce. It's just meat sauce with Greek spices that they pile on top of spaghetti, and they put the onions and the cheese. I don't know why you say it has no flavor. It tastes like
have a lot of flavor.
If you took the oil, if you drained the oil from your oil pan after an oil change, that's what it tastes like. I don't know if it's very good, but I enjoy it.
We know you love it. I mean, and you're entitled to, look, I'm not going to take it away from you.
And they have these squeeze bottles of hot sauce, which is ultra hot sauce that you could squeeze on top.
You need all of that. Yeah. You need like more than one bottle on the table.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I also have some Skyline news because I heard from out of the blue the former owner, manager of the Skyline in Fort Lauderdale on Federal Highway there, Ken Booker, who's a nice guy, and his family owned the Skyline there, and they were originally from Ohio, and they had some other country club up there. But anyway, Ken's fully retired now. The family was going to lease out that spot to the Valvoline Oil Company for an oil change center, which is, appropriate.
That's been under construction though for about 4 years now.
But it's just falling apart, and it's got graffiti, and they haven't knocked it down yet. And I said, Ken, what's going on? That thing has become an eyesore. And he said, their family no longer owns it. And actually, they were the Valvoline people who were supposed to lease it got trapped in permitting hell in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, wow.
And the thing is, their option to lease was about to expire. And they were going to, the Bookers were going to turn around and start looking for other people to lease it to, or to just outright sell the land. But the Valvoline people had an option to purchase the land. They had first right of refusal, which they did. So it is now owned and operated by the Valvoline people, and they have let it fall into disrepair, and they haven't done anything. And I think they're getting fined.
There's been no movement there. It's like the Peking duck house.
It's an ugly eyesore, and the Bookers have nothing to do with it. And Ken wants to go with me sometime to the other Skyline Chili on University Drive, and
he's more than welcome to.
There, but I'll go with you guys.
I don't think you'll see that happening. All right, what do you got in the Holy Bull, Mike Mayo? We got about 5 minutes to go here in the program. Here. I want to get your analysis.
Before we get to the Holy Bull, I have one question for you, because I got into a little fracas at the poker table last night at Mardi Gras.
Oh, really?
There was a weird older gentleman who had one of these little side tables that you pull up to the poker table,
right?
And he had his coffee, and he had his little racing forms. He was playing the harness races from Yonkers.
Sign of a fool. Yeah.
And I had a little cocktail that I brought over, and I put it in. There's 2 cup holders. I put in one of the 2 cup holders. He shot me a look like he had just assaulted his firstborn. And speaking of firstborn, happy birthday.
Yeah, Jess man, 40 today. Can you believe it? Unbelievable.
But he shot me a look. But then I drank the drink. It was done, and then he kind of like nudges me. I'm in the middle of this key hand.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of deciding what to do. And he says, "You gonna throw out this drink?" And I was like, and we were like a minute away from a break. And I'm in the middle of this big hand. And I just look at him. He goes, "Yeah, when I'm done with this hand on the break, I'll throw this drink away." And he ended up just taking the drink and throwing it away. And I was like,
"That was you didn't fire it at you." It was the same guy that's stalking you at Gulfstream today?
No, we're gonna find that out. But this guy's name's San, and he's a crotchety old figure.
You get on the wrong side of a lot of people.
But then I got another drink. I got a seltzer.
Oh,
and
no, you did it again?
I put it in the same cup holder.
Oh,
and this is after the break. And all of a sudden, I'm playing a hand, and then I go back to reach for my seltzer. It's gone.
It's gone. Oh, he threw it out. Nice.
And I looked at him. I said, "Did you throw my drink away?" He goes, "No, it's over there." And he put it at the next table over. There was another one of these little tables. And he had placed my seltzer like 5 feet away. And I was like,
"Is there no place at the actual had this guy not brought his own little side card table? Is there no place to put a drink if you're playing?"
No, because you have to get these little cup holders that if you want to put it on in front of you on the table, otherwise it could spill. But I had this thing right next
I think by
to
the
me.
second time, though, when you saw his reaction to the first time you did it, by the second time, you should not have been using this guy's table. You should have asked for one of the cup holders.
I just flipped out because it's like you don't touch another person's drink when they're in the middle of drinking it. It's one thing if you're going to throw it away.
Well, I mean, look at the way you handle all of this food when it comes out at these various places that we dine at.
I just kind of flipped. I got my drink back, and I said, "Where would you like me to put this? I'll put it on the table."
He wanted you to shove it up your ass, is what he wanted you to do.
And I said, and he just started yelling at me for taking his. I was like,
I don't blame him on the second one.
Said, "Really?" And so
no, because he basically shot you a look and and let you know that he wasn't
not
happy
his
that
table.
It wasn't his table. Oh, okay. I thought
it's
it was.
one of those things that you should share. Like if you have 2 drinks,
okay. That's a different story.
He only has 1 drink in it, and he has his.
Listen, the guy's an asshole. I mean, there's no doubt.
Well, okay. So what would be the way? Because if I start cursing,
I would have started throwing punches and gotten thrown out of the casino.
No, you wouldn't have.
What would be the one thing? Like I had to come up because I just started flipping out, and instead of I know I can't curse because then I could be penalized or thrown out of the tournament. So the thing that popped in mind, I just looked at him and I said, "You are a ridiculous human being."
I'm sure that made him lose a lot of sleep.
Well, he ended up just busting out.
You, sir, are a ridiculous human being.
He busted
just
out.
Tell him, hey, you're an asshole. I mean, come clean,
Well,
man. I have a guy cut me off. I'm waiting online. There's a little chaos for the self betting machines at the now Harrah's Casino, and these people are real jerks, right? They see you're standing there and you're waiting to use one, the next available machine, and they dive right in front of you. And a couple of times, this guy that I know did it to me, and he turns around, hey, why don't you bet the 3 or whatever? And I'm like, why don't you take these tickets and shove them up your ass? I mean, what kind of consideration is that? I don't have much patience for it though anymore.
Well, anyway, the guy goes.
You should have been much more forceful with this guy than to tell him.
I'm sitting right next to him.
A ridiculous human being.
I called him a ridiculous human being, and then I just started kind of going off about where would you like me to put the drink? On the table? You want me to spill it all over the car?
But the guy was way in the wrong if it was a shared table. Yeah.
The floor person, who's a friend of mine, then brought over one of those little plastic cups.
Oh, for you?
And
oh,
said,
good.
Here you go, Mike. And I was like, okay, thank you, Victor. I apologize. I sat down.
I hope you knocked this guy out of all of his cash.
No. Well, somebody else, he made a.
He should have taken
play.
His chips and thrown them.
He had a big stack of chips, but he lost them on a horrendous play.
Good.
And as he's getting knocked out and he goes away, he leaves the forms and everything on the table.
Yeah.
And I just go, hey, you forgot your table.
Oh my God, you couldn't let it go, man.
Well, Mayo.
See, I don't want to engage idiots. I'll express myself and then that's it. I walk away. I don't have anything to do. Give us your Holy Bull analysis real quick.
Here we go. You had a fact error earlier, correction. It is not 7 furlongs. That's
I thought it was.
The Swell is a 3-year-old race tomorrow.
Okay.
For 7.
So when is the Holy Bull?
Holy Bull is a mile and 16th. It's
it is?
Same distance as the Fountain of Youth,
Oh, I
oddly
didn't
enough.
realize that. I
Both
thought
of
they
them are miles
gradually
16
moved the
for the
distance or
fairs.
something. Yeah.
There's 8 horses in the Holy Bull. There's 6 horses in the Swell, which also gets a lot of up-and-coming 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
Weird part, 6 and 8. Guess how many are trained by Todd Pletcher in these 2 races?
All 8.
No, 0.0. It's
Oh, yeah.
incredible. There are no Pletcher trainees.
But
in
Pletcher
either
has
one
that
of
monster. Isn't he the one that has that horse that keeps winning by 10 lengths?
Yeah, I don't know where he's going. If he's going to be going to
Yeah,
Tampa,
maybe he's going to
sometimes
go
he goes
straight to the Fountain of
Tampa,
Youth or something. I
Sometimes
don't
he
know.
goes to fairgrounds. Sometimes he runs at Aqueduct. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but Safi Joseph has a couple in the Holy Bull.
The
Lord
Withers,
Mile.
by the way, one of these 3-year-old prep races postponed, I believe, because of the bad weather that's going to be in New York. Yeah, it's going to be
All right,
freezing.
no Withers.
No Aqueduct today either.
And there's a Dale Romans horse is going to be the favorite in the Holy Bull Cyclone Mischief. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't know who I don't know who I like. I got to buy.
I didn't know any of the horses really. I have to
Well,
say.
hunch play. I might have to go with this horse that's being ridden by Joel Rosaria, Mr. Bob, because again, in honor of my late father, who was Bob.
Yeah.
So that might be the hunch play. 10
Solid
21.
handicapping angle.
Yeah. Oh no, it always comes in like that. And then Bill Mott. All of a sudden, I think
he's
he's
going
at
good.
the stage of his career
Yeah.
where he maybe starts. He might want to start winning some of these classic races. He's never really pointed his horses for the Kentucky Derby. He's always been known as a guy who's patient and waits till they develop, and then had great older horses and turf horses and so on and so forth. And now, obviously, he's just coming off the big Pegasus Cup win with Art Collector, but he has a horse named Rocket Can listed at 7-2. And I think Mott is at the stage where he might want to start, thinking about getting a Kentucky Derby in the books. So, does he have one? Did he get put up? No, he didn't get put up in that year where it was the disqualification. So he's
Maximum
still,
security. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still.
No, that was wasn't it Brad Cox?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because it was Caton and Giroux. Yeah.
right.
So that's it. I'm going to say
we got to get rolling. Yeah, we're going to be out at Gulfstream later on today. You're going to make it out there, right? Are you going to be wearing any kind of disguise? Or
I forgot I had the doctor's appointment. I'll be able to do it from home. Today, so. I think we might have
there to fend off this person that you aggravated.
I'm going to have some eyes out there. I think we also might have to reposition the table. So instead of having my back,
we don't have your back turned to the crowd.
I think I might have to be facing. We might have to have the backdrop being the wall today.
I think so.
Or we might have to go to undisclosed location.
And I don't think it'll be so much of a wrestling match this Friday as it was last Friday when they had a good crowd out there early for the pre-Pegasus card. Where you have to wrestle the tables away. Because you guys literally look like you're coming out of the ring in the WWF and about to smash a guy over the head with a table.
Oh, no, it was a war last week.
It's great, yeah. I've gone through that, in my lifetime many times. Are you going to use this chair? I'm sitting in it, lady. What does it look like?
Well, I'm going to get out there about 11:15, and we'll do the appropriate.
See what happens. Yeah. Scout the grounds, though, man. Yeah.
I might get a Hallandale cop to come by and kind of be.
I think you need to have some kind of security. I would tell Dave Joseph if he could have somebody that looks like they're in security just hanging out there. Get one of the guys. They have a couple of guys that are really well built. Yeah. Get a couple of those guys to strong arm this guy right out of the scene there.
All good. All right. Just text me the restaurant that you want for, and we'll.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. All right. Very good, my friend.
See you in a couple hours. Thanks.
All right. See you. Mike Mayo, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we'll be out there at 12 o'clock, Gulfstream Park. It's always a lot of fun for us. And the first race is like 12:10. So, we're on the air and get a couple of races in, see if we can squeeze out a daily double. I have a minor ticket to cash from last Friday. So that's good. So, I bet $28 into a pick 5, if you can think about this, Lubie, and got back $33. So, and I think I spent like a few other dollars, on some other race. So, a loser for the day, but I'm very happy to be cashing a ticket. So we'll see you out there at 12 o'clock, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Very popular show. Everybody loves Mayo slobbering down food. I would imagine some of that will be going on today. As we also get people ready for the Holy Bull Stakes that takes place on the card tomorrow, the feature race. They've been having some really good cards out there at Gulfstream Park. That Pegasus card was outstanding. I really thought that. A lot of people like to complain, the racing sucks. I don't care if I'm betting Mahoning Valley. The quality of horses, you like to see better quality for sure. A little more consistency in form, but, still betting horses to me, so I have a good time no matter what. All right, Lubie, great job. And thanks to the professor, the Greek, for weighing in on the program. And, of course, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, who is hosting Mike Mayo's Lunchbox in just about 3 hours here. So we'll see you then on South Florida Live. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
9:06.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.